With Sidney Davidson first opened the doors of Newport Harbor High School in 1930, it opened up a gateway to a long-time tradition of connection between those who have come, those who are, and those who will be. As it is now known as the Long Gray Line, an enduring legacy and brotherhood of Newport Harbor graduates who laid the grounds of this illustrious campus to what it is now. Friday Night Lights are back at Davidson Field as we witness a new chapter to the legacy of sailors who once graced this legendary field. You're watching it all here on TAR TV Sports. Welcome and a pleasure as always to have you all here with us tonight. Justin Lee alongside my partner Taryn Rodriguez, Zora sideline reporter, will join us in a few. It's been a long wait but a productive offseason for the Tars, who are waiting to bring football back to these stands once again in 2025. Taryn, it's great to be here with you. You've been here in this booth for the last few seasons. Tell me, what's the best word to describe this atmosphere on a Friday night?
If I had to describe this, it would probably be electric, since it is such a great atmosphere. The tar pit is always rocking, and the energy is brought from the student section. Both teams are ready to play an intense matchup, and I can't wait to see what's in store for the home opener for the Sailors.
We're about to see the Tars take on the visiting Lancaster Eagles, who have traveled 114 miles, about a 2-hour drive to make it here to Newport Beach. Both teams are looking for their first wins of the season and are coming off of tough one-possession game losses. So a lot of ambition here tonight to get back on the win column. Taryn, what can we expect this evening?
I think we can expect some firepower from both of these offenses, seeing that their matchups in Week 1 were high-scoring. As for Lancaster, their numbers right off the bat don't look so special, but their receiving game has been very efficient, averaging about 13 yards per reception. What stood out the most was their game on the ground, the run game on the ground, having scored 4 touchdowns last game using 3 different running backs, one of which was their quarterback as well. Meanwhile, we saw some clear performances from the Sailors in their Week 0 game against Murrieta Mesa. Let's take a look at some of the numbers from last game's Offensive Player of the Week, Shane McKibben, who had 7 receptions, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What a way to start your season, junior year for Shane McKibben.
Right, and Shane McKibben certainly had himself a standout performance last week against Murrieta Mesa. He looked like the team's #1 wideout in their Week 0 loss, but, you know, like you said, what a way to kick off your senior year with a double trip to the end zone, Taryn.
Yeah, undoubtedly a game to remember for McKibben, as he has been waiting in the wings for his opportunity, and he made the most of it.
Ever since taking the role as QB1 last season for the Tars, all the buzz has been around Jake Muir and what he would look like leading this team for a full season. Last week, he looked like a seasoned veteran with that performance against a good Murrieta Mesa team. What were your thoughts about Muir's performance last week?
He had his ups and downs, and honestly, he was pretty good. He honestly had himself some good recognition. That first play, the first couple drives were a little bit unlucky. He had 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he used his legs quite a bit as he actually led the team in rushing, which Newport Harbor has to get going in terms of their run game. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of Jake Muir electricness, and I think it'll be fun.
Well, we'll take a break here as the national anthem is getting underway, so we'll be right back here on TAR TV Sports. Welcome back, everyone, here on TAR TV Sports Wrestling alongside Jaron Rodriguez. We got Zoe down on the sidelines. She's with the Tar Pit. Zoe, how's it going down there?
Karen, the atmosphere at Davidson Field today is incredible. The Tar Pit is so pumped because this is the first home game of the season, and we're confident we're going to win. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Zoe, and as always, great to hear that the action's down there like that. And, when you see the atmosphere that it's like down there, it's loud out down there, Taryn, isn't it?
Absolutely, and you could feel the energy. If you saw Matt Burns down there or you're in person, you will see he was ready to run through a brick wall. He is absolutely outstanding as a coach, trying to revitalize the program when it comes to this season. And this is a big game for both teams. Both teams are looking for their first win, and Newport Harbor, they can ill afford to go 0-2 for the second straight year.
Well, before we go to the game real fast, let's talk about some of those keys to the game. Last week, the pass rush only got 6 QB hurries, no sacks at all. The big thing tonight is they have to get to the quarterback to control this game against the Eagles to give themselves a winning chance. Taryn, what's your key to the game?
They have to stop the opposing team's run game. That seems to be an Achilles heel for Newport Harbor, stopping opposing team's run game, a la Trabuco Hills in the playoffs a couple of years ago, last year against St. Paul. They have to slow down the opposing team's run game. They also gave up 139 rushing yards to Murrieta Mesa and a 52-yard rushing touchdown. So Newport Harbor has to have that bend, not break defense.
Well, here we go. The Sailors at home set sail in 2025. They kick off into the end zone for that touchback. The Lancaster Eagles elect to give the ball to the Tars here to start off this first quarter. They'll get the ball. We'll see Jake Muir take the field for the first time here at Davidson Field this season. Like you said, 230 yards last week, 16.4 averages per play, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Again, what can we expect from this offense? They have a lot of new pieces. They have a lot of their returners. Just like last year, though, 3 out of their 5 offensive line returners back on the field.
Yeah, that offensive line needs to give Jake Muir a lot of time in the pocket. They cannot afford Jake Muir to crumble, because that was kind of the case last year, especially last week on Newport Harbor's second-to-last drive.
Muir's going to take the first one down the field for a short gain as he's tackled there. That's on the catch of Ryan Palmer, who will settle down for about 5 yards on the first play. So a bit of a manageable 5 yards to begin this drive.
The old saying is you got to hit the base hits before you go for the home runs. Before you can go for those home run balls, you got to get some short passes in, get your confidence going. I like that pass.
We saw the run game last week and what they were able to do. 1 touchdown for Baranowski, 132 yards combined. We'll see if they can get that going here. They hand it off up the gut. That's to Matthew Yamakawa as he takes a short gain for about, looks like 2 yards on second down and 5 or so.
Yeah, Newport Harbor's going to need to get their run game, their run game going as well, as opposed to stopping the opposing team's run game, as the run game does have some flash within it with Jake Muir and Baranowski, but they'll have to run for show if they want to get that dough.
Get the dough indeed. Yamakawa last week, just 3 yards average per rush. Muir steps back on third down, flings it down to Palmer. He's going to get enough for the first down and tackled out of bounds as he's roped down by the Lancaster Eagles. So they get the first down and move the chains. Tackle Zini Terry.
Yeah, that was a good little maneuver right there. It looked like that pass was going to Jackson Stremick, but instead it went to Palmer, which was a great little fake. So great first down maneuver for Newport Harbor. And there you go.
Pretty good start for the Tars here on this first drive. That's his second reception already. Ryan Palmer, he had 2 receptions last week for 30 yards. See if he can get another one here. Muir gives it to Yamakawa. He finds a seam and gets a pretty good gain on the next move the chains part of this play as he gets about 9 yards on that run.
Yeah, and that was a good little run right there. High snap, but surprised Lancaster didn't see that run coming, especially since the snap was so high. So good on Yamikawa for getting that run, and he's off to a solid start.
Yamakawa last year, 18 carries, 119 yards. Didn't see a whole lot of play time, but he did do what he could do with Jackson Stremick also there to switch out the Swiss Army knife, and Jonah Takamori back into the lineup. Mir in trouble, finds a man, it's McKibben turning upfield. There is a flag on the play as he goes down about the 40. Looks like a hold call might be coming on here on 2nd down and short.
We shall see.
Jake Muir was in trouble right there, but he was able to find Shane McKibben on what looked like potentially a screen pass. Turns it upfield, but there is a flag on the field here with 9 minutes and 39 seconds in this first quarter.
Oh, it's an eligible man downfield by Newport Harbor. That's a backbreaker. You were at a game yesterday where an ineligible man downfield kind of wiped away a big first down all the way to the opponent's 1. That was Yorba Linda Edison yesterday.
Yeah, number 17 versus number 16, according to CIF Southern Section rankings. Yorba Linda came away with a huge win. They were down 17-7 going into the 4th quarter. They came all the way back to win 21-17.
But we digress. Back to this game. It's now 2nd down.
It looks like the call was one of the Newport linemen. It's like Presley Taylor was the one that was downfield. So this moves them back about 5 yards to 2nd and 8. Near there, Yamakawa right behind him. 4 wide receivers out wide. Muir steps back. A lot of time. Down the middle. And he's got a man inside Lancaster territory. That's Jackson Stremick for his first reception.
Yeah, we got to see more Jackson Stremick as opposed to last week. He is an integral part of this offense. Older brother Sammy was absolutely amazing. Now we got to see Lightning McQueen strike fast and often.
And he just got a massive play right there on that reception. His brother last year, 481 yards, 46 long, 6 touchdowns. Now his brother Jackson takes the reign there. His other brother Ben is on the freshman team, so a lot of family ties with the Stremicks here in Newport Harbor. Jake Muir on 1st down. Yamakawa finds a seam up the middle. He gets taken down by a big, massive man, Jacob Walker, by the Lancaster Eagles, but Yamakawa brings it up for about 7 yards on that run.
And that was a good tackle by Walker. Had he not made that tackle, it might have been a 1st down and a little bit more. So great little tackle right there, preventing the 1st down and then some.
Jacob Walker last week had 7 tackles, forced a fumble, recovered 1 last week, and he 5'9", 170-pound senior. But as we saw in the pregame, Lancaster has a lot of big guys. 2nd down and short. Baranowski gets it, plows his way up the gut. It looks like he's got more than enough to get the 1st down.
Yeah, Baranowski was pretty solid in the run game last week. Didn't see the biggest numbers, but he has such a big body that he could just plow his way through for a 1st down. I expect him to be used more so in the red zone, which is where Newport Harbor is pretty much. They're knocking on that door.
They're right there within the 25-yard line. They're at the 22 of Lancaster. 1st down after the run by Baranowski. Jake Muir steps back. A lot of trouble, screen pass, down the gut, Stremick towards the middle, and he'll be very close to that 10-yard line.
He might have gotten the 1st down. I think it'll just be a 1st down, and that might set up 1st and goal, if anything.
Yeah, it looks like he did get the 1st down. The chains go down to the side of the chain gang. It'll be 1st and goal for the Sailors here.
First red zone trip for the Sailors, and first and goal for them as well.
A much better drive than what we saw last week when they played Murrieta Mesa, where the bit of that drive was stopped on an interception right at the line with a batted pass.
Yeah, the first drive was a 3 and out, and the second drive was a pick 6, which was unlucky.
Hand off to Baranowski, but he gets tackled close to the line of scrimmage. Jacob Walker right in the middle of it for his 2nd tackle.
Yeah, I think Lancaster kind of saw that one coming, especially since they might have seen the tape last week where Baranowski was used in the red zone following the fumble recovery from Ethan Marsala.
They use a heavy package at most parts using Blaukamp, number 26, and Baranowski usually in that formation. Last week they did find the end zone with Blaukamp almost to take the lead against Murrieta Mesa with Blaukamp on a bootleg pass to fake out the defense. Let's see if they'll do that here. Baranowski, Muir steps up, down one-on-one coverage. There was a jersey tug there, no call from the ref. It'll be incomplete, 3rd and 9.
He almost made that catch with his right arm, but unfortunately just not enough daylight to see. So it's a big 3rd down here for Newport Harbor. Got to get this one, got to set the tone, especially since they're at home.
They bring out Baranowski, put Yamakawa back into the game. They do have a very good kicker in Daniel Rico, number 24. He was a special teams player of the week last week. 3 for 3 on PATs. Potential chance to get the field goal, but 3rd and 9 and manageable for the Tars here. Jake Muir rolls out to his right. Trying to find anyone, just flicks it down. Finds his man Palmer as he goes out of bounds about the 4 or 5 yard line.
All right, this is the big one. Do you go for it? Do you roll the dice, go for it on 4th down, get aggressive? Or do you take the 3?
Well, the big question is, what does Matt Burns enjoy doing when he comes in these close situations?
Last week they went for it on 4th down, and they got it in that 4th quarter where they had the rollout play to Jet Blaukamp, and it looks like Matt Burns is being aggressive.
Well, they do have the offense out there indeed. Wilson, Palmer in the mix, Stremick at the Y. Muir steps back. He's got a lot of time. Chased out left, towards the left side, and incomplete out of the hands of his intended receiver, Wyatt Wilson. And that will be a turnover on downs on the first drive for the Tars.
Yeah, that's a tough break right there. That pressure was really coming at Jake Muir. Unfortunately, just could not find his man in time. So it's a turnover on downs, and Newport Harbor's defense is going to have to answer the bell. The good news is that Lancaster is pinned deep within their 5. So they got a long way to go, but Newport Harbor's defense has to not break in this situation. They've chewed up pretty much half the clock, and we got to see what they can do.
It's a big question mark every time when you talk about teams that drive on 4th and short inside the red zone, very close to the goal line, and then you try to go for it, end up not getting it, but at least you put them in a better position to at least give your defense a chance to stop them. First play is a handoff, and it's stuck right at the line. And right in the middle of it, Baranowski brings down the running back.
That was a good little run read by the Sailors. Honestly, like I said, they got to stop the opponent's run game and keep an eye out for Michael Marcinich. He can run with the ball.
Outside screen and dropped on the attempt outside. It looked like a ill-advised throw in front of his intended receiver, Jason Wilson.
Yeah, I think Wilson wasn't really ready for that one. I think it was just a little bit of a surprise right there. But honestly, now Lancaster's in a situation where they pretty much have to pass unless Marcinich wants to keep the ball.
And now you see how that effect comes into play, going for the 4th down, leaving that offense for the Lancaster Eagles in their own end zone essentially, and it's 3rd and 10 and giving them a chance for 3 and out for the Tars defense here. Fakes a handoff, play action, in trouble in the end zone, gets the ball away.
Unintentional ground.
Did he get out of the tackle box is the question.
No flag, so looks like he dodged a bullet on that one.
Marcinich was taken down in the end zone, able to get the ball away. Does not look like they're going to pull the flag here. It is 4th and 10. The offense is still on the field for the Eagles on their first drive.
I think they might fake this one out and punt.
They're going to take out Walker and put in Arthur Turner.
I've seen quarterbacks punt the ball, so this is...
It looks like there was a potential jump at the line.
And it is false start. False start on Lancaster, and that pretty much is half the distance to the goal. So if Lancaster wants to go for this, this is interesting because if they don't get it, Newport Harbor will be in its red zone.
It seems like an absolute risky play from Jermaine Lewis, the head coach of the Lancaster Eagles, that tries to do this. Goes out of the way. And
it is going to be a punt. I had a feeling.
Short punt. Rolls down to about the 40-yard line by Arthur Turner, and it'll roll to about between the 42 and 43 of Lancaster. So good position for the Tars on their second drive.
Yeah, that got a little bit of a Newport Harbor bounce or a Newport Harbor roll as Lancaster was able to get that ball before it was able to flutter back to the Lancaster 40. So really good field position for Newport Harbor. Their defense really came up big on that drive, and I just had a feeling that Lancaster wasn't going to go for it pretty much on 4th down and forever within their 5. I mean, I've never seen a coach go for it on 4th down deep within their own territory. Unless it's like the last few plays of the game.
Only if you have your backs at the wall, but on first drives, those are tough to try to even go for a risk for. Here's Jake Muir on his second drive. A lot of time in the pocket. Got a man. It's McKibben. Got the first down on the first play of this second drive.
And that's good precision right there for Jake. He didn't force the issue. He saw his number 1 receiver, Shane McKibben, and he was able to throw it for the first down. Great precision right there from Muir, a veteran quarterback. One of the few quarterbacks that Newport Harbor has brought back, and he's like the first returner since probably Nick Kim back in 2020, 2021.
He was OC Varsity Top 150, number 118 in all of Orange County in terms of all players. Muir goes deep. Man, wide open. Touchdown, Jackson Stremick to put the Tars on the board.
And that was great route running by Jackson Stremick. He went all the way down the field, and Jake Muir just found that home run ball. Like I mentioned, you got to hit the singles before you hit the homers, and Jake Muir hit the home run to dead left field, and that was 6 for the Sailors. Sailor Nation loving what they see.
About a 35-yard touchdown pass to cap off that second drive after getting good position from the 3-and-out by Lancaster. Short punt, and now they put 6 up on the board. PAT on the way. It is good. It seems like 7-0. The Tars up on their second drive in the first quarter.
Right down Irvine Avenue, but just a great little play right there for Newport Harbor. Only needed 2 plays on that drive. One was to McKibben and the other to Stremick. So great little precision right there from Newport Harbor. And I like how they didn't get rattled following the failed 4th down conversion. They just played their own game, and they were able to get their offense flowing.
Yeah, Jake Muir looked very comfortable in that pocket. And we talked about that ability from last year. When you look at the way that with the players that he had to sit behind, and you know all the quarterbacks that he's had to see. Jaden O'Neal was here at one point. You talk about Cole Leinert, who was here at one point. Both of them couldn't play here because of the CIF rules and the block and everything. Jake Muir comes back in, you know, against Bodie Stefano, 6 games in total. And then Jake Muir gets the reins last year. This year, he gets to run the full offense, and he looks like he's the part.
Yeah, Jake Muir is actually 3-0 when it comes to starting at home. So that's kind of a little bit of a Snapple fun fact. Here's the kickoff.
Ensuing kickoff on the way, and brought down at about the 18. Great coverage from the Tars.
Now that was Arthur Turner on that return, as he just got swallowed up by a pair of Sailors right there. It looks like that was Ethan Marcella on that one.
And tonight, another task for the special teams guy special teams run by Jax Hudson, who's in his first year running the special teams here from Chapman University, a former kicker. Last week against Meridian Mesa, they gave up a kickoff return for 92 yards on a touchdown.
I was there, and that was a backbreaker after Newport Harbor had cut that lead down to 6. That 92-yard kick return touchdown was just that was probably a difference maker right there, because they could have gone into halftime down 6, and honestly, it could have been a little bit better.
And they look a lot better on that kickoff return. So operating from about inside their 20. First play is a fake up the way and down at about the 38-yard line of Lancaster. Marcenich pulls the ball on a QB option.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, Marcenich is definitely capable of running. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 78 rushing yards on 9 carries. So he's one of those dual threat quarterbacks that's not afraid to run with it. So Newport Harbor's really got to be a little bit more recognized and on that game.
Yeah, last week, the combination of the running backs as the next play is into no man's territory. Nobody in the vicinity on that throw by Marcenich. It will be 2nd down and 10.
That was in the vicinity of James Callahan, and he could have easily had that interception, and Newport Harbor could have had a good opportunity to get back into Lancaster territory and possibly get some more points, but it's now 2nd and 10.
Marcenich, another option. Hands it off to his running back. He somehow gets out of the tackle, goes outside, near open space, cuts back in, and he's tripped up before he can go any further than that. On the tackle, Trevor Gwynn is able to stop a massive run.
Yeah, Newport Harbor has to really be dialed in when it comes to that right there. I mean, they missed tackles on Marietta Mesa's final drive, and they cannot afford to move that. That was Arthur Turner right there, so a little bit of a dual guy that plays both sides.
Once again, Turner gets the handoff, but this time he's stuffed on this first down play.
Yeah, Turner had a rushing touchdown last week, 14 carries, 76 rushing yards. He is definitely an integral part of the Lancaster offense.
So short gain right there after the massive run by Arthur Turner. He's going to go out and bring back Jacob Walker. Look at the combination of the running backs. Walker 29 yards last week, 1 touchdown. Turner with the same thing, a touchdown for 76 yards, 25 yards long. And then again, Marcinus, you talked about how good he is with the ball in his hands running as well. First play, open wide for Walker, and he gets taken down by a gang of Tars in the middle. Amba in the mix, Sisani in the mix as well.
Yeah, there was just way too much space when it came to him running with that. That just cannot happen. Newport Harbor, again, they have to be a little bit more recognizable when it comes to the run game. Oh, there's a fumble.
Ball's on the ground. It's picked up by Newport. Open seam all the way in front of him. Greenfield. No one's going to touch him all the way.
Oh, you might have jinxed him.
Behind him. No, he will get there indeed. Godbold picks up the fumble and takes it all the way home.
Ryder Godbold rode that one all the way home. And man, that was such a big play. Second straight fumble recovery by Newport Harbor. Absolutely amazing. And this Newport Harbor team is now ready to play. Yeah.
You talk about a killer to a drive when you run the ball like that. And then you drop the ball on the ground just to have the other team take it back the other way. Godbold, who had 2 tackles for loss last week, gets a big fumble recovery to take it all the way home for a touchdown.
Let's see the extra point.
Kick on the way. It is good. PAT on there. 14-0 Tars after the fumble recovery by Ryder Godbold.
Yeah, that was right down Irvine Avenue right there. But yeah, back to that play. Lancaster had all the momentum, but unfortunately those little mistakes just catch up to you, and Newport Harbor did a great job of recognizing that ball, and it was a live ball, and they were able to run with it. And Godbold, he was close to getting tackled by Terrence Harper, but he just had enough burst speed in terms of getting that touchdown.
Yeah, I didn't want to see a DK Metcalf situation there. That almost happened, but Godbold's able to finish it and get into the end zone. Well, Lancaster will get the ball back. There's only 3 minutes and 16 seconds. We're still in the first quarter. The Tars are up 14-0, just about to give the ball back to the Lancaster Eagles for their 3rd drive of the evening. They've been stopped on 3 and out on the first drive, and then a fumble recovery inside Tars territory. The Tars take it all the way back, 14-0. Kickoff on the way, bounces out of bounds. And this will be marked at about the 6-yard line or the 5 on that kickoff. A mistake and miscue on special teams by the Lancaster Eagles.
So normally when a ball gets kicked out of bounds to the sideline, it's a flag, but since it was touched by the opposing returner, then that eventually is a live ball and then eventually does not count as a kick out of bounds. So it's Lancaster ball pretty much right where it stopped.
And if things couldn't get any worse for the Lancaster Eagles, we talked about the strip, fumble recovery to the end zone. We talked about the 3 and out. Now they're backed up inside their 5-yard line after that muffed kickoff returned by number 2, Arthur Turner.
That's a teachable moment right there, as my colleague from Sunset Rewind would say, Mo Patios. You just got to get away from that ball. If you know the ball's going to flutter into the end zone or flutter out of bounds, you just got to get away from it. So Mo Patios will probably talk about that on Sunset Rewind when he breaks down the film.
Don't forget to catch my partner on Sunset Rewind for the fan zone as well. First play goes down on the ground, and two players for the Tars in the vicinity, Callahan and Glynn. No one's able to get their hands on that ball.
Yeah, that ball was fluttering for quite a long while. And, yeah, as you mentioned, Callahan and Glynn were in the vicinity. Could have easily been an interception if they had their heads up just a second earlier, but to no avail.
This looks like a very much different game than what Lancaster had last week. Here's a handoff to Arthur, and he is stuffed at the line of scrimmage for just about 1 yard.
Yeah, Newport Harbor's doing a better job of stopping the run. I mean, it's easy to have a good throwing game, but the run game is so big when it comes to these offenses.
Last week against Bishop San Diego, Lancaster lost 42-40 in a shootout game between those two squads.
Yeah, and they had a chance to tie it up with the two-point conversion, but it was unfortunate that Bishop Diego was able to eke out that win, but still pretty solid.
And for the Tars as well, when they lost last week against Meridian Mesa in that one possession game loss, they had the lead as that throw on third down is up high for his intended receiver, Wilson, down the middle. It will be fourth down.
Yeah, another most likely 3 and out. I can't imagine Lancaster going for this on fourth down, deep inside their 10. So
it's been all defense so far from the Newport Harbor Sailors. They look much better in terms of defense in the first half than they did last week.
Oh yeah.
Sinich moves out of the way. Muffed snap initially. Short punt up in the air. Turner.
Now it's going to take a Lancaster bounce, but we shall see what the yellow laundry's about. If it's on Lancaster, then Newport Harbor can elect to take the penalty and then have them re-kick it.
So they're talking to the other refs at the moment. Looks like they're signaling false start on Lancaster and possible decline from Coach Matt Burns.
Yeah, it might be either illegal procedure or whatnot. So like I mentioned, so it was on Lancaster and, illegal shift. So illegal shift is the official call, and Newport Harbor will accept the penalty, and Lancaster's going to have to kick it again. So we'll see if Lightning can strike twice for the Eagles.
Yeah, you don't want to see a snap like that on this redo on the punt here like they just did, allowing Newport to potentially block a punt here and get another touchdown on the defensive side of things. So far, the defense doing their job here tonight for the Tars ever since that touchdown from Stremick in the end zone.
Now this ball is going to be placed on the 2, if not the 3, and it's basically going to be Lancaster punting pretty much from their end zone. They got to be careful not to pull a Dan Orlovsky.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo for that matter, too.
Yes.
The day that Dan Orlovsky got freed, Jimmy Garoppolo stepped into his own end zone. Or the back, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
14-0 with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in the first quarter. And this isn't much different than what you and I saw yesterday with the Edison and Yorba Linda game. That first half went by at 30 to 40 minutes quickly.
Exactly. A reporter's dream, especially if you're on deadline.
Another flag.
That might be a delay of game. Or no, it is false start.
False start called on the line. It looks like London Dinkins has been called for a false start out on the left side of that tackle position.
Well, it's going to be half the distance again. So now it's on the 1.
So far, the Eagles are shooting themselves in the foot here in their own end zone.
Interesting that Newport Harbor doesn't even have a returner.
Oh, free indeed. This one is another short punt. We'll take a small Lancaster bounce before being picked up at about the 37-38 of Lancaster. So Tars, again, will have great position within striking distance of the end zone.
Yeah, Newport Harbor's got to continue to strike while the iron's hot. Continue to build their lead and don't look back just because they can't allow Lancaster to get any sort of breathing room or momentum.
Lancaster, like we talked about, traveled here, 2-hour drive, 114 miles from Antelope Valley area. 2,600 enrolled in that school, established in 1995. Not a whole lot of success in their program, but they're expecting.
They were a playoff team last year, and they won 10 games, so got to tip your hat to them. And I think they went undefeated as well in league.
Here's a handoff right up the middle. It's Takamori for his first carry of the night. Gets a good one out of it for about 8 or 9 yards. Looks like they're going to put it about 2nd and 2 upcoming.
So Jonah Takamori actually got hurt last year, and he actually was in full – he was well ahead of his little schedule when it came to recovering and whatnot. So I'm really happy for him that he was able to get that carry.
It's a loaded running back core indeed. Takamori dealt with that ACL injury. Another push up, and it's enough for the first down by Takamori.
And yeah, it's a good, again, Newport Harbor's establishing the run. They're establishing the run and getting things going as opposed to like forcing the issue and having Jake Muir run it. And I think Newport Harbor kind of learned a lot from last week's road loss, especially when their run game just wasn't really ultimately effective. It's just all about momentum and putting Lancaster on their heels.
They had a tough opponent last week too. Marietta Mesa went deep into the playoffs last season.
Wound up winning their first ever CIF championship.
Muir by himself, a lot of time, takes a deep
Another
shot,
homer.
One-on-one, it is caught in the end zone, touchdown. In the end zone once again, Jackson Stremick for his second tutty of the night.
Stop it. He was able to go one-on-one, 50-50 ball. Might have drawn a flag there for over-excessively celebrating, but man, one-on-one coverage right there. That flag could also be pass interference, but I think that flag was well after the play. But what a catch by Jackson Stremick. Lightning McQueen 2.0, and that Lightning is striking twice.
Jackson Stremick has found the end zone 2 times tonight. He's taken over what McKibben did last week with 2 touchdowns of his own. What a way for the Swiss Army knife to start off his 2025 season. PAT is up and good, 21-0. Not even the end of the first quarter, less than a minute to go.
Yeah, this has just been absolutely outstanding for Newport Harbor, but again, there's a lot of game left. Don't be surprised if Lancaster finally wakes up. Newport Harbor has to keep their foot on the gas. As an old wise someone once said, job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so. So Newport Harbor has to remain dialed in and locked in.
Plenty of game left, as most coaches would say. Every single one of them will probably say the same thing, including the head coach of Lancaster, Jermaine Lewis, probably telling his boys, hey, we still got plenty of ball left. But Coach Burns, I'm sure, wants to keep that kettle down for the Lancaster Eagles.
Yeah, also kind of bleed time out before halftime, because Lancaster will get the ball back, and you never know what they could do with the momentum that they have, or if they have any going into halftime. So you're probably wondering why Newport Harbor's kicking a little further. So that flag on the play was actually an unsportsmanlike penalty. So Lancaster accepted the penalty, but it's now going to be ensued on the kickoff as opposed to being ensued on the PAT.
It'll be a kickoff from the 25-yard line
of Lancaster.
Daniel Rico will send this one away. Turner, who had that weird drop towards that 5-yard line, goes outside on this return, and he's tackled at the legs. Down on the ground, Ambat with the tackle.
Yeah, Ethan Ambat was flying in like a bat out of heck. And honestly, he was just absolutely on that one. He had to be a little careful because he could have gotten an unsportsmanlike penalty. Was a little fired up, but honestly, he just was ready to go on that one.
Once again, we talked about the theme of tonight so far. It's been the defense ever since that first touchdown early in this first quarter. There's 49 seconds on the clock. We haven't even gone halfway through this game.
Yeah, so we shall see what Lancaster has to do in terms of Marcinich.
Well, it seems like the big thing here is do what they were doing earlier. That run game was
they
working.
got to run it.
It was working, but they have to be able to have that ball security.
Yep.
So here we go, Marcinich. In shotgun, Walker right behind him. There's a flag. Handoff to Walker for a short gain. Not much in doing there.
Let's see what the yellow laundry is. Could be holding, could be false start, could be illegal procedure.
Someone lost their clothing.
Yeah, false start. Oh, it's illegal motion. Yeah.
So penalties have started to become a thing here for Lancaster. On that previous drive, right before they punted it away, they kept getting themselves backed up even more with false starts, illegal shifts. Talk about bingo card here tonight for Lancaster so far, and I'm sure they don't want to fill that bingo card out.
Yeah, so it is first. It looks like it's going to be 1st and 11. So it looks like they're going to use the difference of the penalty along with the difference between the yardage. So it'll pretty much add up to being a 1st down and pretty much 11. High school rules are different when it comes to compared to like college football and NFL. Okay, now it looks like they're starting to figure it out. So
took a second.
So they wiped the play away, and now it's 1st and 15. High school rules are indeed different.
Big group tonight for the Tars in the stands. Outside screen, almost dropped it on that little catch there, but he's gang tackled by the Tars with a short gain of just about 3.
Yeah, he pretty much got the yards back from the penalty and a little bit more. So a little bit more manageable for Lancaster, as I imagine they might not run a play to end the quarter unless they just randomly just go really quick. There's the handoff. It's actually going up the gut. It's a first.
Big run here, but he's tackled.
Marsenich
on the tackle indeed, and he brings him down. The quarterback pulling the ball, Marsenich. So it'll be enough for a 1st down.
And then some.
And that's the end of the 1st quarter. We've reached the end, but the Tars are up 21-0 early in this 1st quarter.
Yeah, good.
Tars have all been defense. Touchdown from Stremick. We'll take a break here and come back for the start of the 2nd quarter. Back here on TAR TV Sports, Newport Harbor versus Lancaster Eagles. It's been all Newport Harbor. Justin Lee alongside Taryn Rodriguez. 21-0 here in the start of the 2nd quarter. Handoff here to the running back. Goes through a couple of tackles right there, but is able to get a manageable gain on 2nd down. Walker with the small gain for of about 3 yards.
Yeah, that was actually a heads-up play by Marsenich, as he actually, that was a low snap, and it could have been disastrous, but he had great position. So he found Walker, and that was a nice little run right there, as Lancaster's at midfield. Don't look now.
2nd down and about 7 yards to go at the 50-yard line. Another handoff, but he's stuffed this time at the line of scrimmage. There's a flag right behind the line.
We'll see. That one could be, I'm going to take a guess and say holding. Yeah, it's holding. Yeah, he threw that pretty much by the line, and that pretty much is the clear indicator that it is holding.
That sends him back even further now. Couple of 3-and-outs for Lancaster so far, and then that fumble recovery by Godbold inside Newport territory in the first quarter, brought it up to 21-0, and so far Lancaster has been shooting themselves in the foot on multiple penalties thus far.
So that is a 10-yard penalty. So what was once 2nd and 7 is now 2nd and 17. So a little bit more of a longer drive for Lancaster than needs to be for them.
Low snap.
Fake the handoff.
Throws this one up in the air. No one available, and trying to take it was Ambat, and not able to corral it close towards that 20-yard line of their own. It will be incomplete, 3rd down.
Yeah, Ambat could have picked that one off. If he had a little bit more of a step toward that, then I think that's an easy pick. But fortunately, he was just a step behind. Also could have been picked off by, well, I think that was Glenn or Callahan in that vicinity as well. But long, 3rd and long for Lancaster.
Both Callahan and Glenn combined for 3 pass deflections last week against Murrieta Mesa. The big question in the offseason was about this secondary, and they're seeming to hold down that secondary so far on the defensive side of the ball.
Gotta have that bend, not break attitude.
3rd down and way long. Over the downside and over the head of the intended target, Hutcherson. It's incomplete. Another 4th down for Lancaster.
Yeah, and I don't see Lancaster going for this on 4th and 17. That's pretty much what you would go for when you're down like 7 and you're trying to battle back.
Attempting to find some rhythm tonight. They haven't been able to find it so far. They're in that similar position with Turner in the back.
Yeah, it's just a punt.
Sent it away, low one. Grabbed up in the air by Ambat. Running it on the return. He's inside Lancaster territory already. Stays up on his feet and finally brought down. There was a scuffle in between at the moment, and it looks like a fumble as well. They're going to give it to Newport.
All right, teachable moment right here. Ambat, I'm glad he was able to catch that for his sake, but you have to be careful because that's a heads-up kick, and if he mishandles that or he muffs that one and Lancaster recovers, then Lancaster has a fresh set of downs. So got to be a little bit more careful when it comes to having that special teams and whatnot. And also Lancaster looked like they were trying to rip that ball out of Ambat's hands, but thankfully the play was whistled dead, and thankfully for Newport Harbor, they were able to retain possession of the ball. So now they have it on the Lancaster 41.
For the 3rd time tonight, Newport will start their drive inside Lancaster territory. Yamakawa to the left side of Jake Meir. 3 receivers. Meir, good pocket. Overthrown for his intended target.
Yeah, that one sailed right by Owen Baldakowski. And almost could have been picked off by Prophet Cathcart, but thankfully Cathcart had a little bit of a step behind, so a little bit of a rare miscue right there for Meir, but you have to live to fight another day.
Cathcart, 5'10", 175 pounds, 4 solo tackles last week, 3 assists, and 1 fumble recovery. So definitely have to be careful against the safety, who also can play linebacker in that position as well. This is a handoff to Yamakawa towards the B gap, gets a good chunk out of it to bring it up close on a manageable 3rd down. It will be about a yard short of the line of the game.
That's a nice run right there by Yamakawa. I think he's definitely running a lot better. I think Newport Harbor as a team is establishing their run a whole lot better than they did last week. So now it went from 2nd and 10 to now 3rd and very manageable. But maybe expect to see Jake Meir run with the ball, maybe try to have a little bit of a fake handoff and make him run with it. Just try to get that 1st down. You never know.
We're going to have a pistol formation. Fullback in front, Cisniani, and Takamori behind him. Takamori initially touched. He will go down for a small little gain. It looks like this will move it up just a little bit. It'll be 4th and inches.
Yeah, it's going to be 4th and 1 pretty much. And this is an interesting one. Do they run it with Baranowski? Do they try to sneak it with Jake Meir? Do they just go all sorts of cardinal on us and just throw a quick slant?
Meir gets the play, and if
do they try to draw him off sides? That's another option.
They go heavy here. It looks like almost a tush-push formation. Jake Muir hands it off to Baranowski. He plows his way through the line. It looks like he has enough for a first down.
It looks like he got it, and oh yeah, he did. Well enough for the first down.
First down for the Tars, and they keep the drive alive. I was going to say previously, if Lancaster was able to make a stop there, they could have tried to swing the momentum and try to get that ball back. They haven't been able to stop Newport since that first early part of the quarter. Ever since then, and Newport is just driving all over them so far here in the first half.
Yeah, and Baranowski had a rushing touchdown as well.
Four wide receivers. Muir with pressure, underneath screen, bit of a trip by Stremick, and it gives enough time for Walker to take him down near the line of scrimmage. Looks like a loss of about 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think since he went down on his own, that's going to count as pretty much him going down, because it's different in high school and college and the NFL, where if you're down not by contact, then you're down and it counts for the play being over. Weird rules, I know, but that's just how it is.
Big line for the Tars. They have been doing a pretty good job thus far, allowing their rushers to move through closer into Lancaster territory on every single drive thus far, even without Jagger Danoon, who's dealing with a hamstring injury so far. Muir now with a good pocket, scrambles onto his left side. A lot of time still. Now floats it, Stremick, and just off of his hands. Would have been his 3rd touchdown of the night, but good coverage on the outside by Walker.
Yeah, that one was kind of a little bit less of a 50-50 ball. I think that was like a 70-30 ball. Had Stremick made that catch, that would have been absolutely bodacious, but unfortunately, it was just to no avail. I'm surprised Jake Muir didn't want to try to take off and try to get more yards on the ground with his legs, but unfortunately, that's just how it is, and now it's going to be 3rd and long for the first time for Newport Harbor tonight.
And this could be a good chance for Lancaster to swing some momentum here, but Newport, for them, they have been able to convert these 3rd downs all night. You see here on the replay, Muir trying to find Stremick once again. It seems like he will be the #1 target tonight.
Even though he's a running back, which is fascinating.
Muir, high snap, and he just lays down on that ball. That could have been trouble for the Tars as he stays up on top of it and brings it to 4th down and long.
Yeah, so for the first time, we're going to be seeing Newport Harbor punt, but this isn't too bad for Newport Harbor. They could pin Lancaster deep within their territory, just like they did on Lancaster's first drive. We shall see.
And it's pretty tough to overthrow the snap against a quarterback generally. Jake Muir standing at 5'11". Maybe if he was 6'7", he would have been able to get that ball, but obviously for Christopher Foster, who's at the center position, don't want that to happen too often.
He's not Brady Edmonds.
Punt off the way from Daniel Rico. Will go way out of bounds.
Yeah, that one sailed wide right.
This will give short yardage situation, but the Eagles will still be operating in their own territory. They've only been able to drive them into Newport territory 1 time tonight.
Yeah, so a little bit of a rare miscue right there for Newport Harbor in this game. So that just seemed to be like one of those drives. But, you know, you got to get the bad out of the way before you like progress forward. As long as you don't have those bad drives against better opponents, because Newport's got a lot of tough opponents on the horizon.
Yeah, you talk about next week, they'll have to take on El Modena Vanguards in El Modena.
Yeah, last year was a little bit of a tough one for Newport, but we'll see. El Modena lost last week to Troy.
Here is a handoff on the first down and tackled close at the line of scrimmage, right inside the mix, number 33 for the Tars.
Cameron Hatfield. And that could have been a lot more than a gain of 2 on that one, but Hatfield was in the right place at the right time. He was able to wrestle the runner down, and that was just great recognition by him. Saves a big gain, and it's still just 2nd and 8.
Hatfield had 1 tackle last week. Got his first tackle, it seems, tonight. 2nd down and about 8 yards for Lancaster. Stepping back, Marcenic in trouble, jumps up, high floater, and it is incomplete on the ground. Intended target, missed by Harper.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an interesting throw right there. He just had to jump ball throw this one, kind of like he had jump shot in basketball, but to no avail.
So it'll be 3rd down and long again for Lancaster. They just haven't been able to really put on an efficient drive other than the one where they dropped the fumble and allowed Godball to run it all the way back to the other side for a touchdown.
See what Lancaster can do on this 3rd down, though. This is the big down.
Down the side and dropped.
He
had it.
Catch. There's a flag, though.
There is a flag on the play in the secondary. Biarangi was down on the ground for a second, wondering if this might be some kind of pass interference or holding or targeting call. It is on Newport's defense.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. That just cannot happen if you're Newport Harbor. And the thing is that the receiver had the ball, but unfortunately slipped through his fingers. So you're basically giving Lancaster a free 1st down. You just cannot do that if you're Newport Harbor. You got to be a little bit more disciplined than that. Sorry about that.
No, we saw something similar to that yesterday with the Edison game where there was a roughing the passer call on 3rd or 4th down, and that call pushed the ball forward and allowed, I believe, Yorba Linda to get a touchdown on that drive. On the first play, they're able to get past the 1st down. Still up on his feet is Wilson. He will plow his way for some extra yardage on that reception of about 15 yards.
Yeah, that was a good little catch and throw by Marcenic as he found Jason Wilson on that throw. And just like that, Lancaster is back in Newport Harbor territory.
So that call in the defense helps out Lancaster a little bit. Now they're operating in Newport Harbor territory. Since the first part of that first half, they're at the 45-yard line of Newport. Outside screen, batted up in the air, and it will be incomplete as it falls away.
Yeah, that was a good heads-up play by Cruz Marcella. I thought he read that pass really well, and it was a very quick pass, so great read by Marcella.
And if he was able to take that ball into his hands, he would have been free to go to the end zone for another touchdown on the defensive side.
Mm-hmm.
Marcella with another big play for the Tars. 2nd down and 10 from the 45.
Last week he had a forced fumble and recovery.
Run up the middle. Arthur plows his way for a good gain. It will be about 9 yards on this short run. And there's the run support there's the run offense for Lancaster that we saw in that first quarter. They're starting to bring it out a little bit, but they bring it to a manageable 3rd and 1.
Yeah, that was a great run right there, and Lancaster's starting to find their rhythm a little. Uh-oh.
All free on the outside, up the middle, runs into his old man, still on his feet, still cutting up field, trying to cut back, and he's finally gang tackled. A massive play. They say the ball was on the ground, and it's Newport ball again. Oh my goodness. Baranowski has it in his hands.
Oh, man. That was a big heads-up play by Newport Harbor. It looked like it was going to be a disaster play right there, but a great heads-up play by Baranowski. Looked like a couple of Lancaster players were down, but looks like they are back up.
And again, Arthur Turner, who was running in that first quarter, that fumble turned it over, and then the fumble here towards the end of that run, it got knocked out by Newport, and it kills yet another explosive drive for the Lancaster Eagles.
Yeah, Baranowski had the forced fumble, and Godbold had a little bit of a hand in that as well, as he was right in front of the runner as well. So now let's see what Newport can do deep within their own territory.
From about the 9-yard line of their own. Short run here, not much happening on that first down carry.
Yeah,
Namakawa.
Yeah, now Newport Harbor needs to reestablish themselves offensively. Let's see how they do when they're backed up deep within their own territory. They were able to have a great field position the previous few drives, but now it's time to see what they can do deep within their own territory.
Their first drive of the game, they were able to run down the field But ever since then, it's been drives from their defense with 3 and outs to operate in Lancaster territory. This is the first time they're operating in their own territory since that first drive. Long play over the field and overthrown for his intended target, McKibben.
Yeah, McKibben was a couple steps behind on that. So unfortunate right there, but still a good idea from Mir. It's just that he's got to get a little bit more of a connection with McKibben, because the idea is there. It's just that got to get the connection with the receivers.
3rd and 9 now for the Newport Sailors. And we've been talking about, you talked about this earlier, trying to operate in their own territory, see if they can put on a drive. Mir looking for anybody. He finds McKibben. He turns it upfield, breaks a tackle, and finally brought down by the Lancaster defense. But it looks like he'll be short of the line to gain.
Yeah, he will be just a little bit short. That was Zinni Terry on that tackle. So 2 inches short, and that's a big stop for Lancaster. So it's the first 3 and out for Newport Harbor tonight.
So a fumble recovery from Baranowski by Lancaster's previous drive ends in a 3 and out here for Newport. McKibben almost got very close to that line, but missed it by about 2 yards short as called by the chain game, and it'll be a punt here for Rico. 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in the half. Rico will send it away.
High kick. See if that can benefit them.
And it's going to take a Newport bounce, but roll out of bounds about the 45-yard line of Lancaster. So they'll have a better position to start with here after that 3 and out.
Yeah, and this is quite fascinating for Lancaster. They get the ball to start the second half. They're down 3 scores, but they could pull within 2 scores. They just have to play their cards right. Newport Harbor has to have the whole bend not break defense.
So the Lancaster offense will come out, see if they can try to get their first points on the board. In every suitable drive that they put on so far, Newport has forced the ball out of the hands of the running backs. It happened on the last drive. We'll see what happens here. Marsenich, outside throw, dropped again, and the drops are becoming a habit now for Lancaster.
Now, that one might have been deflected by Adam Kasani, but that was, you gotta make that catch right there. They're not trying to knock the kid, but that you're wide open, gotta make that catch. That's the difference between winning and losing.
We talked about it, the penalties in that first quarter. Now the drops are becoming a thing, the forced fumbles. Lancaster can't seem to get anything right so far, and they're trying to change that narrative here. Another tip, but is able to be corralled, but in his own area behind the line of scrimmage and taken down for a tackle for loss.
Yeah, that was a great tackle right there. That was Adam Kasani right there on that tackle. So great little deflection right there, and now he had the tackle for a loss. So nothing really going right for Lancaster. They just can't seem to get out of their own way.
Redmond on that reception couldn't get anything going, as you see on the replay there, and they're trying something a little bit different here with what looks like screen passes rather than running the ball.
Yeah, you gotta hit the short balls or get the base hits before you get the homers.
Third and long.
He's keeping it.
Holds it, runs up the seam by himself through the line of Newport. Nobody in front of him, and touchdown. There's the first points of the game for the Lancaster Eagles as they hit for 6.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for him. You just gotta make sure you keep an eye on that quarterback. And it's just a little, still the run game. The run defense just needs to be shored up.
That's a 55-yard run by Michael Marsenich, adding on to his 2 rush touchdowns from last week. Now his 3rd one of the season, puts Lancaster up on the board. And with the PAT, if it goes through good, it'll be 21-7 with 2 minutes and 37 seconds left in the first half. Pick by Johnny Velasquez for the PAT. Blocked!
Ooh, it is blocked.
So the PAT no good after the run by Marsenich. Lancaster's up on the board. but they're still down 21-6 after the 55-yard by their quarterback.
Yeah, Adam Chani coming up big with that blocked extra point. So great stuff right there on that drive outside of the missed bootleg right there. So some positives for Newport Harbor, but again, you still got to shore up that run defense. Doesn't matter if it's the running back running with it or the quarterback running with it. You just got to have that ball awareness like they did on the previous drives.
Lancaster, for the first time tonight, have signs of life as they're able to get that run game going, but it wasn't from the hands of their running backs. It was from the hands of their quarterback, Marcetic, who scores into the end zone. And Newport still up by 2 touchdowns. See if the defense can try to hold it again. Last week, this defense allowed a pretty big chunk number of yards, 139 yards to Marietta Mesa. They averaged 4.5 yards per run, giving up a 52-yard long as well.
Yep, that was to Daniel Ritchie, who was a fantastic running back. Here's the kickoff, and this one is going to flutter out of bounds, and that's going to draw a flag.
That's a smart move there by Trevor Glenn, reading that ball to roll out of bounds. It'll be an out-of-bounds play, and Newport will operate close to Lancaster territory.
Yeah, I think the penalty for this is 10 or 15 yards. And by the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be 15. But normally, if it were to go into the end zone, Newport would start at their own 20. But now, because of this penalty, Newport starts off at their own 35, which is much more manageable, especially with 2 minutes, 37 seconds left and all 3 of their timeouts.
And that's something, if you're the Lancaster head coach, you don't want to give Newport any chances to run up the score before halftime. Even though Lancaster will get the ball back to start the second half, Newport got the ball to start off this game. But if they get some points on the board, it'll be a tougher job for the Lancaster Eagles to get anything going as Yamakawa goes up and gets the first down on a big 11-yard run.
Yeah, that's a momentum swinger right there. And we talk about momentum. You just got to keep your foot on the gas, got to keep momentum, make sure the opposing team just does not have any sort of chance for a comeback.
A lot of fans here on the home side for Newport tonight. This stadium can hold 5,500 as a run outside, but Yamakawa cuts through the seam and able again, another massive run, 2 in a row, and he's able to go for about 15 yards.
Yeah, Yamakawa with another great run. Looked like he got warned by the officials because it looked like he was trying to showboat a little and celebrate after that first down. So got to be careful. Another teachable moment right there. Can't get too high on the highs, but you can't get too low on the lows.
Newport taking their time on this drive. Might be the last one of this half. Under 2 minutes. Jake Muir will step back this time. Goes down the field, finds a man, missed tackle on the outside, and taken down by the legs by Walker. But it's a good game by Palmer, who we haven't seen since that first quarter. He gets a reception here.
Yeah, and that was a dart right there. That was a laser pass by Muir. Great pass right there. You got to have like great precision, great accuracy to make that throw, and he did. So great catch by Palmer. We've been calling Palmer's name quite a bit just because I think Lancaster's trying to go after McKibben.
Muir steps back once again. He will go downfield on another dart, and Palmer again inside about the 10-yard line of Lancaster territory with 1:15.
Yeah, another great catch by Palmer, and we're calling his name quite a bit. You got to mix it up in terms of your offense, whether it's your rushers or your receivers. You just got to mix it up. If you're one-dimensional, then the defense is going to feast all over you and read you like a book.
And they've been reading them every single chapter page thus far in this game. See if they can put a massive bookmark in the middle of this one. Muir will go under center. Hands it off to Yamakawa. Short gain in the middle of the pile there. They can still kill the clock if they want to, and it seems like that's what they're doing right now with about 30 seconds left in this first half.
And a timeout is going to be called by Newport Harbor. So chew up some of the clock. Make sure Lancaster doesn't have a whole lot to work with when it comes to them getting the ball back. So 2 timeouts for Newport Harbor as it is 2nd and goal on the Lancaster 6.
It's been a good game from Newport so far, and I think the big thing so far in this first segment, Trust me, I've jinxed a lot of people in my lifetime calling games, and I'm not trying to jinx Jake Muir here right now, but he looks very, very disciplined so far as a quarterback.
Yeah, last week I think was kind of a little bit of a learning moment for Jake Muir. He obviously had the unfortunate pick six. He got sacked, I think 3 or 4 times, especially on the last drive. So I think Jake Muir just looked back on the film, and he actually wasn't 100%. He was actually sick following the 2 days after the loss to Marietta Mesa. He was actually physically sick as he needed to rest and recover, but it looks like he is back unless he has a flu game like Michael Jordan.
And he looks 100% healthy so far. So inside the 10-yard line, 2nd down and goal for the Tars. Muir by himself, one-on-one ball outside, back shoulder, no good, flag on the play.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, in the defense of Lancaster, I don't think that ball was catchable, but maybe there was something that we missed in terms of, like, number 28, like, tugging on the jersey. That's Michael Blow who's the guilty culprit.
And it was McKibben on the target there. They're bringing out McKibben, and they're bringing Baranowski back in. Baranowski had a touchdown last week close to that goal line, and see if he'll cash in another before the half ends here. 32 seconds left in this first half, 3rd and 6.
Actually, I think it's 2nd and 3rd because that was pass interference, so it must be half the distance. So they're going to replay the down.
Yep, 2nd and 3rd. They have the massive package up at the line. Muir fakes it outside. Man, wide open in the end zone. Touchdown!
That is Owen Baldakowski, the dual sport athlete who plays volleyball as well on that pass. So great little fake right there. Kind of reminds me of last week when Jake Muir had the touchdown to Jet Blaukamp, but now, this time, it is Owen Baldakowski for 6.
Newport slams a giant anchor on Lancaster just before the half is about to end with 27 seconds left on the clock. With the PAT about to be on the way, they are up by 3 possessions now. PAT is good. It will be 28-6 going into halftime potentially, unless Lancaster can figure out something to do before the half ends.
They still have all 3 of their timeouts, so I think it's not impossible for them to get one more score, but they're going to need a lot to go their way, and yeah.
The Newport Harbor High School student section looks absolutely riddled tonight with students, and they have filled these stands showing out their support. If there's people in the crowd that look like us, if you're coming to the game later tonight is standing on business night. All the students have been asked to wear white or wear business attire. If they come, the first 150 get a free necktie. So,
nice.
I mean, we could literally go into those stands and play or find Justin or find Taryn in the crowd. Where's Waldo?
I think we both could be a little bit more recognizable, but honestly, I think you make a good point. Newport Harbor, the Tar Pit, really came out and showed up when it came to this business attire night.
Here comes the kickoff with 27 seconds left.
The booming kick into the end zone for a touchback. So Eagles will be setting up shop on their own 20. We'll see what they can do.
So Lancaster, ever since that touchdown drive with that 55-yard run by their quarterback, Marcenich, just had other things have been kind of plaguing the Lancaster Eagles offense throughout this game. And I'm sure Coach Jermaine Lewis is going to have a lot of words going into that locker room for the Eagles.
Okay, so it looks like Lancaster is going to try to get some points before. Good. Oh, but there's a flag.
Before the play can even go develop, it's a false start call.
Yeah, momentum is big for Lancaster. If they can get some sort of points before halftime, then they could try to build off that and take it into the half and only be down 2 scores.
25 seconds left, and Lancaster's been pushed back a little bit further as well. So they're operating about the 15-yard line of their own. Either see Marcenich, he's not going to put a knee on this one. He's going to hand it off, and mauled by an entire grouping of Sailors in the middle of the box. And that will push him back a little bit further now. And the clock is going to run down, and it looks like that might be the final play of this half.
Yes. Yeah, they're not going to run another play.
And the clock strikes 0. 28-6. The Sailors, defense, offense, everything working for them so far. A little bit of help from Lancaster as well. What a half by the Newport Sailors.
Yeah, Newport Harbor really came to play. They know they can ill afford to go 0-2 just because they play in such a tough league. The Bravo League is nothing to sneeze at, and they've got some other tough matchups ahead, like Cajon, Colony, El Medina next week. So Newport needs to rack up all the wins that they could possibly get before league play.
We go back to some of those fumble recoveries from the defense. The run there by Godbald all the way to the end zone. Muir getting able to find strikes to his guys Stremick, McKibben. It's been all tar so far in this game.
Yeah, and you, if you're a Newport Harbor fan, then you love what you're seeing here. I think Newport Harbor just has to continue to build off that momentum, keep their foot on the gas, and just make sure that Lancaster has no chance at rallying back to make the comeback.
Halftime here at Davidson Field, 28-6. The Tars up. Stick around. We'll be right back after the halftime break. Welcome back to Davidson Field. 28-6 is your score. Tars on top. They had a big first half. As we come back here on Tar TV Sports, my name is Justin Lee alongside Taryn Rodriguez. Zoe down on the sidelines. Taryn, that was a pretty big first half. Let's talk about some of those keys that we had earlier from the beginning of the game. What was your key of the game, and how is that going so far?
My big key to the game was Newport Harbor stopping the opposing team's run game, and I thought they did a solid job for the most part. Other than that big play from Marcinich, I thought that Newport Harbor kept the run game of Lancaster in check. So I think for Newport Harbor, they just got to keep their foot on the gas. They got to make sure the opposing team is going to be forced to throw now. And Newport Harbor has shown that they can take away the passing game of opponents as well, especially tonight.
And so far, with the key of the game that I had was going after the quarterback a little bit more often, but they really haven't had to since Lancaster's been handing off the ball a lot more, and Marcinich running all over the Tars, but not as much because their defense has pretty much been picking up so far with two touchdowns with a touchdown fumble recovery by Godball of his own, and then that fumble recovery by Baranowski. So we'll see what happens in the second half and see what Lancaster Eagles have in store for us. But we're going to send it down to Zoe, who's on the sidelines, to give us a little bit more about the Tar Pit.
Thank you, guys. Our ASB, our fans have been absolutely standing on business. We can see that through our 22-point lead. Everyone's been super fired up, lots of cheers. We've been having a great first half. Back to you guys, Taryn and Justin.
Thanks, Zoe. And like we said, a lot of great energy out here at Davidson Field. The fans have been rocking. The Tars have been able to really get the number of the Eagles so far. And I think the big thing so far has just been the ability of the Tars to play complementary football. We talked about the defense, but the offense, Jake Meir has 3 passing touchdowns so far in this game, and he's been lights out so far.
Yeah, and it definitely shows that the talent is there for Newport Harbor. Last week I just felt they caught a couple of bad breaks, especially on the last few drives. So I think for Newport Harbor, it's just all about putting all the pieces together because they definitely have a great team on paper. It's just all about getting everyone involved and making sure that they just clean up mistakes and they just do their job.
That's right, and they have cleaned up their mistakes certainly here tonight. We talk about Stremick getting 2 touchdown catches in the end zone. Baldakowski just before the half to put a stamp on this game so far, but the game is still within reach. There's plenty of game left on the clock, and if anything has told us from what we saw last night with Edison and Yorba Linda, anything can still happen when you have a lead. So I believe the job right now will be Newport just needs to finish the game. Is that right, Taryn?
Exactly. They have to close out. I remember last year they played St. Paul. They were up for most of the game, and St. Paul just came back because they just didn't waver, and Newport just couldn't put them away. So it's all about putting away these opponents and making sure that there is no room for a comeback on the other side.
Newport received the first half kick. They'll kick it away here to Lancaster. We'll see if they can try to get on the board. They've been able to run the ball so far, but because of the defense, they've been able to kill drives, force 3 and outs, and that has pretty much been the theme of it so far. This defense for Newport, we talked about that. When you talk about the offseason, there was a lot of concern about the secondary. Well, we mentioned it during that second quarter. So far, the secondary and the frontline defense have been doing a really good job for Newport.
Yeah, and that defense needs to continue to do its job, and I feel that Newport Harbor just is going to need this game is going to be the icebreaker to see what they can really be about with a lead.
Kickoff away to start off the second half here in the third quarter. It will be caught in the end zone for a touchback. Lancaster will operate at about the 20-yard line to start off this drive.
Yeah, the 20-yard line. So Lancaster, they got some work to do in terms of trying to make a comeback. Marcinich is a great quarterback, but it's all about now let's see if he can get his receivers involved, because Lancaster has shown that they can operate well on the ground, but now it's a big task to pass, especially since they're down 3 scores.
It seems like so far throughout this young season that it's been receiving by committee for Newport Harbor, Stremick, Palmer, Yamakawa, Blaukamp, McKibbin, and now you talk about Baldakowski getting his own touchdown. It's been pretty much a committee by receiving so far. Here's the first play by the Lancaster Eagles. A good throw down the middle for a catch by Wilson to start off this drive. That gets a first down.
Yeah, that was a great catch by Jason Wilson, and a good little momentum starter for Lancaster, just because you want to get into a rhythm and get those short passes and eventually go for the home run balls.
Here's the next play after that first down throw. Pulls it and taken down. This time it's a great tackle by the Tars. Hatfield into the mix to bring down the quarterback, Marcinich.
And honestly, I guess we can classify that as a sack, just because even though he was taking off with it, then he still was behind the line of scrimmage, so that would classify as a sack. And it's the first sack of the year for Newport Harbor. They have not gotten a whole lot of sacks.
And we talked about the key of the game. It looks like that's the first time it's pretty much come into glory here. Basically a sack on the quarterback as he runs outside Marcinich. And the Tars trying to get to the quarterback like we talked about. That's what you got to do. You see here on the replay, that was that first down gain earlier. And the next play, a small gain to the outside. And it's caught up by Redmond. This will be right up close to that line to gain of about a yard and a half or so. It'll be third down and short.
That was a gain of 9 on that. So, yeah, that's a great catch right there, and great little precision to make sure you get close to that first down marker.
It's a handoff here to Arthur Turner. He's balled up by multiple Newport Harbor Sailors, and they're going to mark this somewhat close to that line to gain, and they're going to give him the first down. They're going to say Turner got it.
Interesting, just because I kind of saw the first down marker, or not the first down marker, the dot to basically that the ball was on move before the play started. So a little bit of interestingness happening at the line.
Screen pass played, goes literally nowhere. A pass to Harper on the outside and brought down by the Newport Sailors. Looks like Sisani in the mix. Chani, excuse me.
All good.
In the mix to get that tackle down.
Yeah, that was a nice little ankle tackle right there to prevent any further gainage of yards.
See there on the replay, good ankle tackle there by Chani. Here's the next play, second down over the middle, and it is dropped again. It looked like Baranowski had a little bit of help with that drop play, and a flag throw in the backfield in the secondary.
That one I might be unnecessary roughness. It could be pass interference. It could be holding.
It's on the Sailors' defense as called by the Whitecap. Must be an unnecessary roughness call. Not sure if it was Baranowski. It was in the secondary, but this regardless gives Lancaster a first down on this first drive of this second half.
Could have been Luke Garrido, as it looked like he was trying to throw down the receiver, but either way, you just cannot have those costly penalties. That is not playing clean Newport Harbor football.
Outside run goes nowhere. Hatfield in the mix again. No yards gained on that first down run.
Yeah, that was a nice. Hatfield's been kind of having himself quite the defensive performance. Had the sack, he had a tackle for a loss, and he pretty much had no gain on that one. So looks like probably just a little bit of a gain, like an inch.
Had one tackle last week, able to start really getting a lot more. Screen pass tipped initially, but it's caught out there, and another ankle tackle to disallow a huge gain there on the outside perimeter. Wilson on the catch, tackled down by the Sailors.
Yeah, that was a nice little ankle tackle right there. Again, those are the little things that don't appear on the stat sheet, but honestly, that could be the difference between seeing a first down and seeing still a third down and whatnot.
Trevor Glynn on the tackle on the outside perimeter. He has stepped up in that cornerback position.
Low snap.
Low snap, pulled by Marcinich and dropped near the line of scrimmage, and into the mix is Godbold for 4th down.
Yeah, that looked like that was Godbold, and he got a little bit of help from Hatfield. So that looks like it's going to be a sack, since I did see the marker go backward.
It will be 4th down and 7 yards to the gain line. The Lancaster Eagles are operating at the Newport 36-yard line. They need 7 yards to get the first down.
And I think this is where you got to go for, because now you're down 3 scores. Got to roll the dice a little.
Marcinich got a man on the comebacker, but it's way off the mark and out of bounds. It'll be a turnover on downs on this first drive for the Eagles.
And that's the Newport Harbor bend, not break defense that we have come to know. I think that was a prime example of Newport Harbor's defense answering the call. If you remember last week, Newport Harbor almost pitched a shutout in the second half against Murrieta Mesa. Unfortunately, they just had that unfortunate missed tackles on the last-minute drive. And again, we know Newport Harbor can play with the big boys. It's just all a matter of putting together a full 4 quarters and having no mistakes and no missed assignments.
First play for the Sailors of this half, and it's a run up towards the B gap and down on the ground. There is a flag on the play, though.
Looks like could be on Lancaster. According to a Newport player, according to Mir, it's on Lancaster, but we cannot be too sure, and it is on Lancaster.
It's a face mask called on Lancaster. This will move him and give him a first down. So Newport not really needing to do much on that first play. It gives him a first down gain, it seems like.
Yeah, and that should put Newport Harbor in Lancaster territory.
So it's not going to give him a first down initially, but because it was a penalty on that first play, it's still first down either way, but they're first down and 1 yard to gain.
That's interesting, because normally face mask penalties are like 15 yards.
Yeah, it looks like they only moved it like 10 yards up. So Mir goes under center here on, now they changed it to second down. Mir by himself takes a deep throw, and it's off the mark for McKibben. He wanted a holding call on the secondary there with the jersey tug, but nothing coming avail.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Again, he was 1 or 2 steps behind that pass, but honestly, again, got to reestablish that connection. McKibben had himself such a great game, but now feels like he's been a little quiet tonight, especially with players like Palmer and other players stepping up as well. Palmer's kind of been the big target tonight.
Number 34 for Lancaster was in the mix on that. Looks like he almost held McKibben on there. Don't have his name listed on the roster. So we're going to call him Jane Doe for now. Anyways, it's 3rd down and short. Jake Mir, 3 wide receivers, and a running back. We'll hand it off to Yamakawa. It's enough for a first down.
Workhorse working left side, Matthew Yamakawa.
And that indeed it is.
Picking up the first down.
First down yardage gain. And we go back to talking about Newport's ability to really start showing their full colors a little bit. Defense, offense, everything else working for them. And they're going to have to do that, especially when you talk about them starting to get into Bravo League play. It's not an easy conference, and I'm sure you know this, Taryn. Last week, every single one of the teams in the Bravo League won their first games of the season on week 0. Newport was the only team that had that loss in the Bravo League.
Yeah, it's just a league where you just cannot afford any mistakes, and these are some darn good teams in the Bravo League.
Mir down the field, finds a man. It's Stremick again, over the middle, and it's a first down of about 15 yards.
Yeah, great catch by Stremick, and he's been all over the place. He looks like he might be playing slot just because we don't really see him a whole lot in terms of like being a receiver. He's normally running back, but now he is slot receiver by committee. Yeah?
Jackson Stremick, number 22 last year.
Now he's lucky 7.
And now he's lucky 7, his brother's number from last year. Wearing it with pride. Here is a play action pass off the mark for McKibben, incomplete on first down.
Yeah, that was a nice little read by the defense right there. They were not fooled by the run, so I got to give it up to the defense. Looked like that was Josiah Davis on that coverage, because he was right there toward Jake Meir. So Jake had to throw that ball away, and he didn't have too much time regarding passing that.
Yeah, you see all the replay there for Stremick making that catch over the middle. Newport Harbor operating Lancaster territory since that last drive to end the half, where they scored on a touchdown by Baldakowski's long pass catch by Jake Meir's throw. Over the middle, caught by Palmer. He's got enough for the first down and more to move the sticks on second down.
Yeah, Palmer was wide open right there, so that was a great little maneuver. And Newport Harbor is in Lancaster red zone territory, so Newport Harbor slowly but surely trying to reestablish their offense, trying to work their way down the field.
Sweet Caroline playing in the stands here. They feel, right now, Newport feels so alive, if you know what I mean.
And so good, so good, so good.
Thanks for picking me up there, Taryn.
Mm-hmm.
Meir now in the shotgun, one running back to his left. Hands it off to Takamori. He gets initially hit down on the ground, a short gain, but a good one of about 5 yards.
Yeah, that was a big hit right there by the Lancaster defense, but Takamori just running mad. So great stuff right there.
Check out the replay here from Jake Meir with that pass earlier to Palmer, able to get that first down on the last play. And so far, Lancaster has had almost zero problems or zero solutions for the pass offense of Newport. And a fumble on the ground, and landing on top of it is Takamori to save the drive here.
That's twice this game that we've had that. And did that even move past the line of scrimmage?
Doesn't look like. It looked like Takamori fell on it right at the line of scrimmage.
That might have been a fortuitous bounce right there.
Maybe there's some tar magic, if you feel my drift. And we saw the weird fumble a little bit earlier in the game with that high snap over the head of Jake Meir. Can ill afford to have more mistakes like that, but they still have a pretty good lead of 28-6 so far. But they're inside the red zone, 3rd down and 5. Meir now looking outside. Had a man and cutting in front is the wide receiver to make the catch and get the first down. Looks like that's Stremick again.
That was Stremick. And as to my point earlier, Stremick was playing little slot receiver, because he was a running back last year, but now he's been playing in the slot, and as we all know, he has 2 touchdown catches. So a little bit of some slot receiving right there.
A lot of good numbers from Stremick tonight so far. He might be one of the biggest keys for the Newport Harbor Sailors coming down the road. The line is already set for the Sailors. They're in a weird position. They're going fast here, moves it over. This is a wild formation. Baranowski gets the ball. He's going to drive it all the way to the 2-yard line. So not sure if you want to call that razzle-dazzle, but there was certainly something happening in that pile.
Yeah, they were trying to keep Lancaster on their toes right there, and I think they did a good job, especially with Baranowski getting a nice little chunk on that play. Just got to get those chunk plays until they could eventually get to the end zone.
Very close to the end zone indeed. It'll be placed at the 4-yard line. Meir again, and with the rest of the offense, do the same formation on 2nd down and goal. Meir will hand it off to Baranowski. He'll try to plow his way in, and he breaks the line for a touchdown through the middle.
Yep, that is the 2nd straight week we've seen a Glenn Baranowski rushing touchdown. So great little maneuvering right there, great running, especially since we saw Baranowski in the red zone. I think he's becoming a nice little fullback, running back right there.
Very much trying to play him like the Fridge. His build is not like the Fridge, so to speak. Very much a more lean and muscular build than the Fridge himself, but Baranowski, 220 pounds, able to put it up and give Tars a 35-6 lead now.
Yep, Newport Harbor, fun fact, Newport Harbor did crack 30 points last year, and that was against a comeback win against Tesoro. They only cracked 30 points one time last year, and that was it in the comeback win against Tesoro. So to see Newport Harbor at 35 points in week 1 is an encouraging sign, because last week they put up 27. So again, we know Newport Harbor has the offense to compete with these teams. It's just all a matter of just putting things together, not having silly turnovers and whatnot, and just keeping your eyes on the ball and your eyes on the prize.
So after Baranowski's second touchdown of the season on a run play, Newport Harbor up 35-6 here in the third quarter. 4 minutes and 12 seconds left. Kick away. It's a short one. Yeah. Picked up by Lancaster. And the short kick lets them go to about the 36 of Lancaster.
Yeah, that was weird seeing a pop-up kick. Maybe they didn't want to bleed out more clock or whatnot, but honestly, wasn't on my bingo card after that.
We talked about the pieces coming together for Newport, and the way that they've been playing tonight so far, they've really just been able to really run the clock through, get good plays, but Lancaster talked about the mistakes that they've had so far, talked about the drops, the penalties. You can look back to anything in that first half, and you could say, you know what, there could have been different circumstances, but Lancaster certainly has to clean up something here in this second half.
Yeah, I agree. I think Newport Harbor is starting to piece everything together, but still not quite over yet.
Hand off here, up the middle, and taken down. Walker with the run. Pretty efficient run there, gains about 9 yards on that play.
Yeah, that was a nice little run right there, almost to the first down right off the bat. So Lancaster trying to do its best, trying to get some sort of momentum. The time is starting to run down overall, even though it's only the third.
There's a play here, throw this time, over the side and nearly picked off by the defense. Looks like Glenn was in the mix there, including Callahan almost had the pick there.
Yeah, that one hit Callahan right in the leg, and he wishes he could have that one back. So I'm starting to expect to see a little bit more passing from Lancaster, because at this point, you got to start letting it rip, like Beyblade. Third down and 1, pulled by the quarterback Marcenich, goes to the outside, reaches with the ball, goes and trips out of bounds, but it looks like he might have enough for the first down, and a flag late after the Marcenich goes out of bounds. That's going to be a late hit out of bounds. I think it's going to be late hit out of bounds on Newport. You just cannot have silly mistakes like that. It was already out of bounds. Just cannot do that. Like these silly penalties that we didn't see last week are starting to catch up with Newport.
Newport having the better end of it, but obviously can't really give any free yardage to the other team.
Oh.
It's a call on Lancaster.
Oh, might have been unsportsmanlike penalty or something.
So Lancaster gets pushed back.
Foul.
It would have been a first down on that play, and it puts him all the way back to the 30-yard line, and it will be third and super long.
Yeah, that's just you just can't do that if you're Lancaster. You're already down 29. You just can't have silly frustration penalties like that. You just cannot have that happen. And now what was once third and 1 is now third and very difficult.
So Lancaster will see if they can try to get the first down, but they've got a long way to go in this game. And Newport having 35 up by 6 on Lancaster right now. You look at the way the defense has been playing so far. Last season, only 9 sacks. They have essentially 2 sacks so far in this game. The defense have been able to force a lot of good turnovers. 22 tackles for losses last year, 48 QB hurries, and so far the defense, much different story than giving up 33 points to Marietta Mesa last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this Newport Harbor defense kind of needed a little bit of a wake-up call last week. as Newport Harbor in its season openers, obviously last week was a heartbreaker. They have lost their last 3 season openers. Previous 2 years were against St. Paul in some heartbreakers, but now this year was against Marina Mason. And it looks like they are shuffling everything around.
Yeah, not exactly sure what's going on with the chains here. The chains should exactly be where they were, but the chains have been moved for whatever reason, and the down marker.
Okay, so it's first down. I think since the play was the flag was after the play, it's first down, but now it's just further back.
Which makes sense in the sense of football itself, so that's the way it goes. First down, but Lancaster essentially pushes themselves back to where they pretty much started this drive.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a pass play, outside, underneath route, and cut down by Newport before he could get a good gain out of it. He does indeed get the first down. Redmond on the catch.
Yeah, that was a nice little maneuver right there. Nice little under route by Redmond. So I think that was a little bit of a page out of Newport's book, because Newport had that earlier, and I guess Lancaster decided to say anything you guys could do, we can do better.
Embad and D'Angelo on the tackle in the mix. Turner comes into the game at the running back position for the Eagles. Play action pass. Marcinich down the field. One-hand attempt, but out of reach for his intended target downfield.
I think
Turner.
that was Jet Blaukamp on the coverage. The Australian Dutchman from down below.
It's a great coverage there by the Newport defense. Blaukamp. And obviously, a lot of the Newport players can play both sides. We've seen Baranowski, obviously one of the top linebackers in the country. Blaukamp with a touchdown last week. He gets a good defensive coverage here from the linebacker position. So the defense, linebackers, Newport's got it all. Down in the middle, good catch there, stiff arm. Still running on his feet and finally taken down at about the 30 inside Newport territory. That's a gain of about 25 by Jason Wilson.
Yeah, great little run right there from Wilson following that catch. And nice little stiff arm, as you mentioned. So, yeah, you got to do everything you can. And you're on the road. You're in a tough environment. You're 200 miles from your home field. It's tough. And it looks like it gets tougher with the flag.
Looks like it will most likely be another false start for Lancaster. We saw multiples of these flags last night. This time it's on Newport.
Oh, it might have been offsides. Oh, illegal substitution. So I think Lancaster tried to go hurry-up offense, and Newport just couldn't get a substitution off in time. So I think for Newport, that's why they got the penalty. Yeah.
Both men on the field, most likely. This will put Lancaster a little bit closer now, as they are essentially right at the edge of the red zone. It'll be 1st and 5 with a yard to gain, which is at the 20-yard line. With 2 minutes and 22 seconds left in the third quarter. It's been about an hour and 53 minutes since we started this game. Marcinich pulls down, low pass, caught up in the air, cuts back, spins around, and finally taken down out of bounds. A big throw down by Newport. Godbold brought down the receiver. And a little bit of trippiness at the end, too.
Yeah, it looks like Godbold wanted to play a little WWE right there.
Looks like there's an injured player on the ground here. That is, it looks like,
That is number 33, Cameron Hatfield. Oh, he's had himself quite the game.
Hatfield on the ground right now, and keep in mind, this is also Newport Harbor's long snapper, so if he doesn't stay in the game, that might be a different story for the special teams unit. We see on the replay here on that tackle, so he just kind of got rolled up on, essentially, on that play. You see him on the ground there at the end of the replay. Yeah, that's the trainers are out there on the field trying to hold on to his leg. Well, let's take a look.
So it looks like he's back up, but he's kind of gingerly walking over to the sideline.
A little bit of a limp. We'll check on that later on in the game, and hopefully Hatfield will be top shape.
It's like Ethan Ambad is on the sideline trying to get fixed up.
Newport have a couple of defensive pieces out for this next play on 1st down and 10. Ball on the 20-yard line of Newport's own, and the yard to gain is at the 10-yard line.
Yep, it's now red zone time.
The line wide open spaces. Play action pass, looking for a man downfield, and it is dropped. Good defensive play there on the outside from Newport Harbor. Jackson Stremick is all over the place tonight.
Yeah, Redmond almost had that one, but thankfully at the last minute, Stremick was able to jar the ball loose a little and force the incompletion.
Stremick can catch it, he can get touchdowns, and with a good pass breakup here in the end zone, he disallows a touchdown in what would have been 6 more or 7 for Wilson.
That was a great last-second play right there. It's the difference between scoring 6 and 0.
Down the field, tipped up in the air, somehow recovered, and goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Wilson will put 6 on the board for Lancaster.
Yeah, that was a nice. That ball was juggled, but great precision by Wilson to maintain it and get the touchdown. And I imagine Lancaster wants to go for 2, or they could just bring out the extra point unit.
Don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess. You see here on the replay, almost dropped it again. We've seen that a lot tonight with the drops, but this time Wilson with good concentration, able to corral it and put it into the end zone. There is a huddle here with the line. It looks like they're going to put a 2-point conversion play here.
So they are going to go for 2.
Under center. They're going to go around the world and stopped and stuffed at the line. 2-point conversion fails for Lancaster. Baranowski on the play.
Yeah, I give a little E for effort for Lancaster. I thought they were very smart on that play. Tried to fool the Newport defense, but I think they might have done a little too much. Poured a little bit too much taco sauce on that taco.
Prophet Cathcart was the man under center, and unfortunately not able to get that 2-point conversion, so it will remain 35-12. Newport still on top.
Yep, so it is still a 3-score game.
Still plenty of time, though, for Lancaster to do something, though, but they finally get a score here, and what we've seen is basically a pretty decent drive apart from the last touchdown that they scored.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit unfortunate for Newport, kind of a few bad breaks for them, so it's all about getting themselves up off the mat and just trying to continue to drain the clock.
So Lancaster will kick it off here.
Looks like it's an onside-er.
It goes down on the ground and picked up by the Sailors on what was attempted to be a surprise onside kick, but picking it up and able to corral
Parker
it.
Stringham.
Parker Stringham is able to secure it and disallow Lancaster to try to get the ball back quickly.
Yeah, great recognition by Stringham. Great heads-up play right there. And, yeah, it's not like the NFL where you can only do an onside kick in the 4th quarter and you can only declare it. So in high school, you can do an onside kick whenever, and you don't have to declare it. It doesn't have to be the 4th quarter. So nice little heads-up play by Newport, despite Lancaster trying to catch them off guard.
Jake Muir calming down the crowd now as they operate at about the 49-yard line. Yamakawa to the outside. Short gain there. We take a bit of a preview of Newport Harbor's next few games. We talked about El Medina next week. That will be a tough one. They'll come back home on a Thursday, September 11th against Cajon. Then Colony Titans, and then they'll start Bravo League play against the Tesoro Titans.
Yeah, and that'll be a road game. Kind of a little trying to get a payback for Tesoro on Tesoro's part after they've lost 2 straight heartbreakers to Newport Harbor the past 2 seasons. But yeah, El Medina, it'll be an interesting team. No more Xavier Guess, who's now at UC Davis, so we'll see what regime El Medina has.
Muir now on 2nd down, hands it off to Yamakawa again. They're just trying to somewhat
Bleed
kill
out
the
the
clock.
clock.
Yeah, and it'll be a short gain or none of nothing. It'll be 3rd down and 6 yards. Clock running down at about 37 seconds here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, we're probably going to see at least one more play because even though there's no play clock, you'll probably see just one more play, if anything.
Looks like Huizar will bring the offense to the sideline and let the clock run down. I guess they do have enough time on the game clock or the play clock to run that thing all the way down to the fourth quarter.
I guess so.
Well, then you look at after Tesoro, then you have the big game of the year. Always the massive tradition here. Battle of the Bay at OCC on a Saturday. Saturday, Terry, and that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, since Corona Mar is the home team, they have the option of basically having it wherever they want, and they also have the option of having it whichever day and whatever time and whatnot.
Well, it's the end of the third quarter. We're off to the fourth. Newport Harbor still up 35-12 here on TAR TV Sports. We'll get a little bit more info right after the break. Back here on TAR TV Sports, my name is Justin Lee alongside Taryn Rodriguez. Been so far a shutout, or not shutout, excuse me, a big game for the Newport Tars. Jake Muir leading this offense. They're up 35-12 as we go into the fourth quarter. They have the ball right now at Lancaster's 47-yard line, 6 yards to go on third down to start off.
Now it's all about playing mistake-free football at this point.
Muir now backs up. Down the field, great out-of-the-air catch to get the first down. Palmer, who has been a big, massive target, aside from Stremick so far tonight.
Yeah, Palmer has just been on one. Really quiet last week, but now he has really answered the bell for the Sailors. So I think Newport Harbor just continues to do their thing.
And surely Lancaster's defense must be gassed in which way or another. They don't have a massive roster, only 46 players in total to Newport Harbor's 63 total, as Muir steps up on first down, rolls out to the right side, has a man, wide open. Stremick runs up, still on his feet, and finally brought down by the secondary, but not before he gets the first down gain and more, a gain of about 18 yards.
Yeah, that was great recognition by Muir. He could have taken off to try to get the first down, but then he saw wide open Stremick. He decided not to be selfish, and he decided to distribute the ball to his man. So great job right there.
Muir, we've seen so much of him tonight, being poised in the pocket. When it pocket breaks down, rolls to the outside, finds his own guys. The connection has been very good for this Newport Harbor offense. Muir now deflected at the line of scrimmage and brought down, but the play is dead by Josiah Davis on the tip pass by Jake Muir, who's looking for McKibben on the left side.
Yeah, you're right on that one. Muir was trying to get McKibben on that pass, but unfortunately the defender read it quite well, and it was tipped at the line, and thankfully it wasn't another interception like last year.
So
last week.
Second down and 10. They have 17 yards to go to the goal line. Muir now gives it to Yamakawa, who drills his way a little bit forward. It's a gain of about 5 yards. Third down and 5. So
yeah, at this point for Newport Harbor, it's just all about draining the clock, being smart with the ball, not giving it back to Lancaster, and just being wise. If they can do that, then they'll be getting their first win.
3rd and 4, 11 yards to go to the end zone. Newport taking their time. Muir still checking with the sideline. Takes a snap. Down the field, comebacker caught by McKibben. That's enough for the first down inside the 5.
Yep, great catch right there from McKibben. Been a little quiet tonight, but I think Lancaster did their homework, and they saw the tape that McKibben was their big receiver, over 140 40 yards last week against Murrieta Mesa. So I think Lancaster's kind of done a better job of bottling him up, but now it's opened up Palmer.
So either way how you look at this is a pretty big drive right here. If Newport Harbor gets in the end zone, you can pretty much call this one a throwaway, basically. Mir now with a big package behind him on first down and goal, 4 yards away. They roll to the outside and tackled at the goal line. Looked like it was Yamakawa on the run there. We brought down right about the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that was indeed Yamakawa. I think they tried to go jumbo right there, but I think Lancaster kind of saw that one coming.
So if Newport Harbor's looking to stamp the final anchor or cannon blast shot, if you will, to sink the Lancaster Eagles here with 9 minutes left in the game, jumbo set once again. Yamakawa takes it, trying to climb over the line, but pulled back.
He might have stumbled.
And he stopped on a short gain again at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I feel he kind of slipped and unfortunately kind of lost his footing.
So third down, now they take out the jumbo package, bring the wide receivers back out. Wyatt Wilson will come in along with Ryan Palmer and Stremick in between at the slot side.
Yeah, and honestly, these failed touchdown runs aren't really a bad thing just because now Newport's milking more clock, and that, I think, might be the plan for Burns and co.
Mir to the outside, rolling. Finds a man wide open in the end zone. Touchdown for Newport Harbor. It's Wyatt Wilson with the score.
Dub squared right there. That might have been the exclamation point on this game. And Newport Harbor just continuing to string their offense together. This is the first time they've scored 40 points in a hot minute. They did not do it last week. Not last week. They didn't do it last year. Came close when they beat Tesoro, but honestly, it's good to see 41 points in only week one.
About to be 42 if this extra point is good. Low snap, and it will be indeed true and good. 42-12. Newport Harbor up by 30. What a night for this Newport Harbor team, and what a statement this game has been so far for them. You know, they can play with the big dogs like we talked about. We saw the game against Murrieta Mesa. They took the lead, but Mesa was just a better team in that situation to able to score right before the end of the game within a minute. Newport Harbor this time able to come in front of a team that looked like they were going to make it very competitive tonight after playing against Bishop Diego. Newport Harbor looking like the team that can try to compete in the Bravo League.
Absolutely. I think this has definitely been a step in the right direction for Newport Harbor. I'm glad they're able to clean up on all the things that they did not do last week. So I think Newport Harbor, they're as solid as rock, but they just got to close this game out, and then they can focus on El Modena.
Another kickoff here for Daniel Rico. And we talked about the Battle of the Bay. If it's too early to set the stage, we're about to tell you. Brady Annette last week for Corona Del Mar, 41 over Rancho Verde, 6 points only allowed. He had 5 touchdowns in the first half. And then you also talk about the circumstances of the O-line for Newport Harbor. Here's the kickoff return here. And running to the outside, flips it. Still on his feet and finally taken down by Newport. Turner on the return.
Oh, we see a Newport Harbor sailor down. Looks like that is Marcella.
Another man on the ground. We saw Hatfield go down earlier, and bit of some checking on one of the secondary players for Newport Harbor, but Cruz Marcella, who had a fumble recovery.
Looks like he might be cramping, but hopefully it is just a cramp.
It's about 72 right now here in Newport, so but looks like he definitely is with that calf, but let's still trying to, you see on the replay here, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Hopefully he'll be okay. Still talking about setting up the stage for the Battle of the Bay, though. You know, we talked about Brady Annette, and then you talk about the O-line for Newport Harbor. When we talk about guys like, you know, Will Will Harrington, he was supposed to be one of the returners back here to Newport Harbor. All of a sudden, he silently transfers to CDM, and he's playing there now. Talk about adding some fuel to the fire for Newport Harbor.
And Marcella is up on his feet, but he cannot put any weight on that right foot. So, official, thank you for helping him, as well as the trainer off to the sideline. So, no, it wasn't the official. It was two volunteers and whatnot.
Well,
yeah, Newport Harbor might want to end this game quickly just so they don't have any injuries for next week.
First down and 10, long throw down the field, and nowhere close to the intended receiver there on the pass. Birangi, the intended target.
Ambat should have turned around on that play. If he turns around, that's probably a pick. You remember that if you're wondering who that player is, Ethan Ambat. He was the one that had the game-clinching interception at the end of the game last year at Battle of the Bay last year. So Ambat could have had an interception, but unfortunately that ball is like way too up, and I guess he was just had his eyes on the defender.
Second down and 10 for Lancaster. Right now tonight, Villa Park is playing against Western High School as a big run up here in the middle. Gets a pretty good gain and a first down for Lancaster as they extend this drive here.
It's a double-edged sword because you run the ball and then the clock will run, and since you didn't get out of bounds, the clock will still run, and time is now not on the side of Lancaster.
They hand it off again. Ooh, made a man break his ankle, still going through the side and finally tackled. That was a touchdown-saving tackle on the outside there by Chani. So another big run, back-to-back, both of them by Walker. He goes to the sideline to get a breather, and Turner will come in.
Yeah, I think Lancaster's going to try to go hurry up at this point if they're not going to throw the ball.
Tesoro is also playing tonight against San Marcos. They're losing right now as a high throw off the mark to his intended receiver, Wilson, by the throw by Marcenich. Will be second down.
That will stop the clock, and that's good for Lancaster. But again, they're going to need a lot to go their way if they want to complete this comeback. But, yeah.
CDM is in a road trip right now, all the way in Santa Barbara, taking on Santa Barbara High School, playing right now. We talked about Yorba Linda yesterday getting that massive win over Edison. Here's a rollout by Marcenich. Now throws down the field, over the head, and dropped on the catch there. And now he's on the ground. Birangi with the coverage there by Newport Harbor's own Ethan Ambat.
Yeah, Ambat had a nice little pass breakup toward the end. Without that, I think that might have been a touchdown for Birangi. As looks like he's a little gimpy, jogging a little slow, but looks like he's all right. And sometimes it just happens for away teams. Sometimes you just go on the road and nothing goes your way. I think Lancaster's a lot better than this.
Right up the gut. It's wide open on the outside, and another touchdown-saving tackle by Newport Harbor. And again, Amba in the middle of that tackle to take down Arthur Turner.
Yeah, and honestly, again, this just goes to show that Lancaster does have the offense. I just think that they've just caught a few bad breaks, and they just have been playing from behind throughout most of the game. And being down 21-0 after the first doesn't help matters.
Throw to the outside. It's complete. Still on his feet. It looked like a face mask there, and the flag is thrown, and tackled down is Wilson on a gain of about 7 or 8 yards on that play, and it might give him a little bit extra with a potential face mask call.
Yeah, you just can't do that if you're Newport Harbor. You got to be more smarter than that because you're giving free yards to the opponent's offense, and even though they're up 30, you still got to be disciplined.
You see it right there on the replay, the face mask right there on the spot.
Yeah, D'Angelo's the guilty culprit on that one.
So this will put Lancaster inside the 5-yard line to operate from the 4 of Newport's territory. Trying to make a late comeback. Run up the gut, reaching for the end zone. That's a touchdown for Lancaster. Walker into the end zone on the run, 4 yards out.
That's a good aggressive running, and I honestly think that Lancaster really does have a good run game. I just think that they got so far behind and just they weren't clicking in terms of their passing game. So I think Lancaster, as I've mentioned, they have a good offense. It's just a matter of them clicking, because you saw what they did last week against Bishop Diego. Unfortunately, just didn't go their way. Just missed out on that 2-pointer, and they could have easily been 1-0 coming into tonight.
And they could say the same for Newport Harbor as well, and that's what we started off with this
They're going
in the
for
game.
two.
Here's a flip over to the back, and he's in for 2. So this will add 2 more. It will be 42-20 in this game now. So Lancaster trying to dig out of a hole, down by 22 points.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's all a matter of just keeping your foot on the gas. And Newport, obviously, they're up 42-20, but expect the onsider. Just play like this is a playoff game, and you just cannot give up like free points and free silly mistakes like that to opposing teams. I mean, Newport is kind of losing bodies here and there, but still, you got to play a full 4 quarters.
San Juan Hills last week had a big win over number 20 Chaparral, beating them 38-33. Last night they beat Roosevelt 41-0 in a massive rout by their quarterback Timmy. And San Juan Hills looks almost legit in the Bravo
Yeah,
League.
they're probably going to be the front runners. And a little bit of a fun fact, the top 2 teams from the Bravo League are expected to get moved up to the Alpha League next year, and that is not going to be a successful onside kick. That was a that did not make the 10 yards, and he jumped the gun too early.
A little bit too antsy on that onside recovery. Got it at the 9-yard line, but if you're somebody who's an expert on special teams, you know that is not enough to get the job done.
Yep, yeah, I think it might have been just a yard short, so I think it'll be like a 5-yard penalty. Newport Harbor will have it.
So Newport Harbor will get the ball to pretty much just kill the clock here. 6 minutes and 39 seconds left in the game. 42-20 is your score. Justin Lee alongside Taryn Rodriguez. It's been a fun one so far. As you see the Newport Harbor High School student section going absolutely crazy. The tar pit has really come out and shown out, and they're going to need that going through the rest of this schedule. And with the way that the Newport Harbor Tars are playing tonight, this could be a pretty big one.
Yeah, Newport does have 4 home games remaining, and they have Battle of the Bay. You could expect them to show up and show out for Battle of the Bay. It will be tough when maybe they could go next week. I mean, some of the student athletes at Newport have other sporting events, but we'll see.
Muir will take the ball, hands it off. Short gain, not much there on the run. Pepe Tena was the carry running back there on that play. And, the quarterback is no longer Muir. It's Darian Leyva who comes in. So Newport throwing in their backups now into the game.
Yeah, Darian. Yeah, take out the starters just to be safe. Don't, risk them getting hurt. And Darian Leyva is one of the backup quarterbacks for Newport Harbor. You also have Jordan Spigarelli, who transferred from JSerra, but he is not quite ready to go yet. He's still sitting in the sit-out period, but we shall see what he has to offer in the future.
Definitely a pretty high talented quarterback, as stated by most of his coaches during the offseason when they were playing 7-on-7. And Spigarelli is not an unfamiliar name to this area in Newport, as Leyva hands it off to Pepe Tena for a short gain. It'll be 3rd down. But Spigarelli, he started at JSerra, didn't get enough playing time, came back here, said he wanted to get more playing time. He grew up with all of these guys here in Newport Harbor and is pretty much neighbors with most of these guys. He's also got his brother Logan, who's a freshman this year on the freshman team, but he has to deal with that 5-game block due to CIF rules. So once that's over, who knows what will happen. But it seems like Jake Muir basically has that starting position locked down for now.
Yeah, again, it would take some sort of turnaround or some, heaven forbid, an injury for something to change.
Spigarelli's nickname also the Professor, and for good reason. 4.35 GPA in high school so far. Short gain, and right behind the line of scrimmage, Tena unable to get some yards to go get the first down, so it'll be a 3 and out here for Newport Harbor, and give the ball back to Lancaster 4 minutes and 52 seconds left. You can still consider this garbage time if you want to, but we've seen crazier things happen in life.
Yeah, Lancaster, they just called a timeout right there, so they'll be left with 2. They'll get the ball back with 4:52. Again, a lot of things need to go their way, so we'll have to wait and see.
So with the timeout here, yeah, you talked about those home games coming up. San Juan Hills at home, Yorba Linda at home, the homecoming game, and then senior night, Villa Park Mustangs. It's a tough one, but if you can play it here at home, and with the way, like you talked about, Jake Mears' home streak so far, which might be about to become number 4.
Yeah, 4-0 at home when starting and finishing the game.
You might want to take those odds over giving the Dallas Cowboys the odds to win the Super Bowl this year. Sorry, that was a roast. Personal Green Bay Packers fan. I'm just very happy.
Ah.
Welcome, Micah Parsons. So this will be a punt here, and it's called dead just before it. There's a flag way in the backfield, or in the secondary, essentially, of the field by the back judge.
Okay, so it's illegal substitution on Lancaster, so that'll mean the punt will be a little bit more closer.
Legal substitution should be about 5 yards or so. So this will bring him up to the 45-yard line. So this will be a little bit shorter yardage field situation. And that's just been the latter theme of the night for Lancaster so far. Those penalties have been just knocking themselves off their feet. High snap on the punt. Away it goes high up in the air.
So I guess that timeout was actually called by Newport Harbor, not Lancaster, which is fascinating. It's like, why call the timeout? Because you're the one stopping the clock.
Strange way to do so. So it kind of gives a little bit of a helping hand to Lancaster. Still plenty of time, but if Newport Harbor can figure out how to control the ball, if they get the ball back in the situation, then Lancaster's going to need a miracle to really pull this one out of the water.
Yeah, Lancaster still with all 3 of their timeouts, 4:39. They got to go 83 yards down the field to get the score, and then they got to get the onside kick, get another score, then the onside kick and get another score, all within 4 minutes and 39 seconds.
We talked about the home game schedule towards the end of the season for Newport Harbor. Last year, 0 for 3 against those 3 teams, San Juan Hills, Yorba Linda, Villa Park, and not exactly the closest of games. Could be a different situation this year with the way that Newport Harbor's offense is looking, including that defense. So here's a play here, down on a screen play. Bouncing outside is Walker for a short gain.
And I guess they're going to keep the clock running, even though he went out of bounds.
Clock's still running, so Lancaster is going to have to play hurry up if they want to keep this one in their hands or bring it back within.
So it's close to a first down.
Marsanich gets ready. He's back.
Ooh,
double throw attempt. Still running around, nobody available. Just throws a hail up in the air at the 40-yard line. It's picked up and it's taken down Harper on the reception. That's enough for the first down. And a flag, though, on the play. So Lancaster trying to do some magic here with the double pass. Starting to see a little bit of everything tonight, huh?
Oh, yeah. A lot of things getting marked on your bingo card.
Still waiting to see what the call is. The entire line is still backed up. They're saying ineligible receiver downfield for Lancaster.
Oh.
So it'll back him up and negate the first down gain on the trickery play.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Lancaster. It's just one of those nights, unfortunately. But tough times are temporary. Tough people are forever.
Yesterday, SM, Santa Margarita, was taking on Centennial High School, and it was a big game. SM was up by a lot. Centennial eventually made it tied up going into the end of the game and won 33-27 in overtime. Number 6 over number 3 in Orange County. That was a big win for SM. So a lot of big teams coming down so far within the first couple weeks, and we haven't even gotten to week 2 technically.
Yeah. Just shows you got to make your extra points.
Outside on the ground, incomplete on second down. It'll be third down, the intended target. Baranje was the receiver to make the catch, but low throw by Marcenich. And Davidson Field once again filled with many Newport fans from the area. Field finished renovations back in 2017. It's been here ever since the football program started playing here. Handoff here. Turner, who has been running heavy all night tonight, but not much help so far. He's been in the end zone a handful of times, but Lancaster just hasn't been able to really overcome the Newport Harbor defense so far, and those mistakes that came very crucial in that first half. It was enough to get the first down, so the drive still remains alive, but there's 3 minutes and 12 seconds on the clock. Excuse me, the senior night is against Cajon on Thursday on September 11th. Long throw down the field. It's caught and corralled up the gut by Wilson. Great concentration with 3 different Newport defenders in the mix.
Yeah, that was a sick catch right there by Jason Wilson. Was able to get that despite a couple defenders right on his coattails.
So Lancaster trying to dig their way through a metal vault doors to try to end this game. And that's a incompletion down the field, intended target Baranji again. Another looked like a drop on that play.
Yeah, it looks like the ball's kind of rolled out of his hands. Yeah, Lancaster trying to make this game a little bit more respectable.
And Coach Matt Burns, who has been operating with this team for the last couple years, obviously everyone knows that he's a Newport High School graduate, class of '94. Played with one of the best coaches. Taken down in the backfield for the quarterback. A sack in the backfield for the defense. And there's a big scuffle at the end. After the sack, Ryder Godbold gets into the mix, and it is chirpy on the field. Another flag thrown. And Huizar is also trying to get his players all wrapped up together, trying to get everybody back in shape. So not exactly what you want to see towards the end of a game, but a scuffle here.
Yeah, a lot of yellow laundry on the field. 75, Efrain Gonzalez. I got to commend him. He defended his quarterback. I think it might have been a little bit more of an extracurricular activity in terms of the quarterback being brought down. So got to give a little credit to Efrain Gonzalez for keeping his quarterback protected, because that's what those big boys do.
You see here on the replay, looks like multiple punches thrown, it seemed like initially, but settled down there as the refs gather around to kind of pretty much figure out who.
I think it's going to be offsetting penalties.
Pretty much on both sides. Not sure if that'll bring any suspensions, and hopefully that's not the case, because you never want to see that in a football game towards the end.
Oh, yeah. Looks like the official was pointing to the Lancaster side, both sides.
The ball is being moved away from Newport Harbor side, and it's going to put Lancaster all the way at the 27-yard line of their own.
Yeah, so both penalties were on Lancaster, so it was basically back-to-back penalties. So, yeah, that's not ideal for Lancaster. But, again, it's a frustrating night for them. You know, not a lot has gone their way. Even what we've seen from them, they have the potential, but it's just one of those nights. And it's a long season ahead for them. They've got league play that's on the horizon. I just don't think that this is the Lancaster team that I thought we were going to be expecting.
So, if you want to take a guess, you already see it on your screen, 2nd and 43 to the line again, which is on the other side of the field to get the first down in Newport territory. Lancaster's in their own at 2nd down. And like you talked about, Lancaster just not characteristic of what we saw a week ago. With all the mistakes in that first half, that's certainly going to be a big discussion board throughout the weekend in their their pregame plan as a screen pass here gifted to Turner. He turns upfield, and he will be knocked nearly out of bounds. Newport Harbor all hyped up in all tackle on the play there, Ethan Ambat.
Yeah, the last thing Newport Harbor wants is to get an unsportsmanlike penalty and then have suspensions for next week, perhaps. But I think for Newport Harbor, they just got to get this game locked up ASAP.
84, working hard. JP Clemo, sophomore.
A couple switch outs here before we get the play underway. 3rd and 32. Under a minute. The clock's still rolling. Minute 30 now. Pretty much just settles it here for Newport. Now let's talk about Jake Mears' performance tonight. Even though Stremick can be the highlight, we can talk about all these guys all night. Ryan Palmer was a big play. Baranowski was a big one on fumble recoveries and touchdowns. You talked about Galba with that scoop and score. But seems like Jake Mears has this offense under control, or as far as we've seen in the first 2 weeks, 1 interception to just about 6 or 7 touchdown passes.
Absolutely. It's like Marcinich is on the run. Might have stepped out of bounds, hence why the play was dead.
They said he's down at their Lancaster 49-yard line. It'll be 4th and way too long.
A little bit more manageable.
Just a little bit. Fourth down and 21 as the game starts to close down. You talk about Jake Mears' history. There's a timeout on the field here. Talk about Jake Mears' time here. You know, we talked about Liner and everything. You know, the guys that he sat behind is kind of a big deal because Jaden O'Neal, who was a sophomore here in 2023, he's the number 7 pocket passer according to ESPN, a 3 to 4 star recruit according to 247 Sports. Couldn't play here with a 7-game block, but when he was here in his sophomore year, 2,475 yards with 27 touchdowns, then transferred to Narbonne, then to Mustang High School, and he's committed to Florida State.
Yep.
And left, and then in the same time you have Cole Liner, who's the son of a Heisman-winning trophy quarterback who had to leave the team and go somewhere else.
He went to Redondo Union,
and then Jake, and they're basically left with no quarterback, and they have to
Stefano.
go Bodie Stefano, who was a tight end the year prior before getting the starting job. 4th down.
He was kind of that Swiss Army knife, Stefano was. Oh my God, did he catch that?
He got it just beyond the first down line.
And
there's a flag.
Oh, there's a flag
thrown on Newport's sideline. It looks like they're pointing it at one of the coaches for Newport. Not exactly sure what the conversation there was.
Well, if they actually picked up that first down, then I got to commend them. They had to go 43 yards on a 2nd and 43 all the way down to get that first down. So
going back to Jake Mears, what he's had to go through, he's got to watch some really good talent, sit behind actually a pretty good quarterback in Stefano, and then he takes the reins halfway through the season, and now he's leading the offense, and he just looks like he's been the part so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and having some reps last year really helped as well because Newport hadn't really had a returning quarterback since Nick Kim back in 2020, 2021. So I think that kind of is a benefit for Newport as well. So
the penalty moves the Lancaster Eagles further into Newport territory, right about, it seems like, the 14-yard line of Newport Harbor. They did get the first down after going all the way forever from wherever they were on their own territory, and a first down towards the end zone, way out of the reach of their intended target, incomplete.
Yeah, I think after that double unsportsmanlike penalty from Lancaster, I think they started on their own 27, and then they worked their way down the field. And that unsportsmanlike penalty, I don't know who that was on, but honestly, again, too many silly ticky-tack penalties. Just can't have that.
Certainly cannot do, but Jake Meir the Snake, as he's been given that nickname by his teammates, on second down, rolling out to his left, and just trying a desperation, still on his feet. Throws down to Arthur Turner, got a good lane, up the middle, still on his feet, turns around. He's in for the touchdown with 17 seconds left.
Well, it's going to be one of those teachable moments for those young bucks that when it comes to the Newport Harbor defense. And it looks like they're going to run the clock, so I think this extra point is going to be the final play, because I think Lancaster might be going to want to get going here.
So in all regards, a really good win here tonight.
Okay, so I guess they ran the clock, no extra points, so that's a game.
Really good game here tonight for the Newport Harbor Tars. They run the clock down. Final score 42-26 here at Davidson Field. Well, we have an interview coming up with Zoe down on the sidelines pretty soon, but looks like we're going to take a break before we get to that. We'll be back here on TAR TV Sports. Welcome back here on Tar TV Sports. After the break, big win here tonight for Newport Harbor. Zoe's down on the sideline with Coach Matt Burns for his thoughts about this victory.
Here with Coach Burns. In your final half, you had two key players get hurt, Cameron Hatfield and Cruz Marcella. How did your team recover from that, and what were some things you did to keep moving forward to pull through such an amazing win?
When we got guys go down, we train these guys to, tell them, the next man up. So the next guy's just got to jump in and go play. And one guy goes out, the next guy should be able to jump in and be prepared and be ready to go. And we did that tonight.
That's amazing. And finally, your first home game. What does this win mean to you guys, this blowout win?
This is a great win, especially after losing last week in a hard spot, out in Merida Mesa, losing the last 30 seconds. That was tough on us. We bounced back, had a great week of practice. Tonight we really wanted to come and control the ball. Had the offense did an excellent job of, setting up the run, which set up the pass, and getting our guys out in space. And Jake did a great job, throwing the ball. I think it was over 250 yards, something like that, four touchdowns or something like that. So spread the ball around. That's how the offense works. So we did a good job running the ball and passing the ball. So not too shabby.
Thank you so much. Right. Back to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Zoe. We'll still have plenty of other moments to talk about here tonight, but we'll get into one more interview before we cut off of air. So we'll take a break here in just a sec on Tar TV Sports. Stick around. final words here from Newport Harbor. Zoe's down on the sideline with Jackson Stremick with a few words from him.
Hi, I'm here with Jackson Stremick. You made 2 key plays tonight. You made 2 touchdowns. How did that feel after a tough first week for you on this win tonight?
It felt really great, just to go up 14-0 in the first quarter. It just gave us a lot of confidence and gave us all the momentum we needed to win this game.
And finally, this is a new season. How does it feel to be playing with this specific group of teammates this year?
It feels great. We really feel like a real family. Everyone just came together, and we're all playing together as a team, and it just feels great.
Okay, thank you so much. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Owen, once again, and it was a pretty big win here tonight, like we said, for much of the evening. It was a good offensive win. Any last thoughts, Taryn?
I thought this was a very convincing win for Newport Harbor. They knew that 0-2 could not be in the cards if they wanted to make the postseason. So I think this was a very strong, convincing win. Give themselves a little momentum going into next week against El Medina. We won't be seeing Newport Harbor until 13 more days when they play Cajon here on Newport Harbor's senior night.
Yep, indeed we do. Well, for all of us here, I'm Justin Lee once again alongside Taryn Rodriguez and Zoe DeMichaels, who's been our sideline reporter tonight. Be sure to check out our broadcast schedule by following us at TAR TV Sports on Instagram for updates. Looking ahead at our fall broadcast schedule, we will have boys water polo in a tournament happening next week. But for all of us here at TAR TV Sports, we thank you for being with us here tonight for this presentation of Newport Harbor Sailors versus Lancaster Eagles. We'll see you next week as we say to all of our friends and family at home, good night from Newport Beach.